welcome back to Yesterday Today. I'm Jake. This is McLean. We're related somehow, I believe.
Distantly.
McLean, what are you wearing?
What am I wearing?
What is that? What is that hat?
What's wrong with this hat?
Well, nothing's wrong with it per se. It's just, you just don't seem like the kind of guy who wear a kind of hat like that. Okie dokie, moving on.
What was that crack about?
That's what we call a little pre-show banter, a little bit of a, it warms up a little bit of like it warms up the host, kind of gets you in the mood to discuss things, just a little, just sort of ease into the show, McLean. That's all it was.
That was your excuse for pre-show banter?
Plus, I don't like your hat. Anyway, moving on. Welcome back to Yesterday Today, the show all about sounds from the past. Old sounds, old recordings, old things. I am not myself old. Not yet. One day I will be, but that is not today. Today, our topic is movies on the radio. This was a thing. There were several shows back in the day. Lux Radio Theater pioneered this, but there were several radio shows back in the day that would take popular movies of the time, and even sometimes not popular movies, and adapt them into radio scripts. You might think this was like a lazy way of getting content for your show, but actually, this was a pretty big hit with a lot of people. People who perhaps, they couldn't afford to go out and see a movie, but hey, radio's free. And a lot of times they would get the stars of the movies to come in and play the roles that they played in the movie in the radio version. Or sometimes if they couldn't get the actual star, they would have some other star play their roles. I know that Jimmy Stewart did a few episodes where he was playing roles that he did not portray on screen.
Jimmy Stewart would make a great stand-in for just your average leading man character.
I think that was Jimmy Stewart's entire career was being, hey, I'm an average leading man. But I'm
not knocking Jimmy Stewart at all, of course. One of the all-time greats.
First up, we have an episode of Screen Guild Theater from September the 25th, 1944. This is an adaptation of the movie It Happened Tomorrow. Now, we both have some personal history with this specific film, which we will discuss after it plays, but for now, this is It Happened Tomorrow, and I think this one stars Dick Powell, better known as Richard Diamond.
Lady Esther presents the Screen Guild Players. The Lady Esther Screen Guild play tonight, It Happened Tomorrow. The starring players, this is Dick Powell.
This is Linda Darnell.
And this is Frank Craven.
Tonight, Lady Esther presents the Screen Guild Players in Arnold Productions' intriguing screenplay, It Happened Tomorrow, based on an original story by Hugh Wedlock and Howard Snyder. It stars Linda Darnell as Sylvia, Dick Powell as Larry, and Frank Craven as Pop. The Lady Esther Screen Guild Players in It Happened Tomorrow.
It's a strange story, very strange. And I have no right to expect you'll believe it. Sometimes I scarcely believe it myself. Lawrence Stevens is my name, but everyone called me Larry then. That was back in the 90s, you see, and I was still young, a cub reporter on the evening news. I remember we'd finished our work that night, and we were sitting around the reference room, having some fun with old Pop Benson, who'd kept the files for 60 years.
Honestly, Pop, don't you get bored taking care of all these old files, all this dead news?
What do you mean, dead news, young man?
Well, there's nothing as dead as yesterday's newspaper.
Oh, if you've got no imagination, Larry. News is what happens. What's the difference if it happened 50 years ago or happened tomorrow?
You mean will happen tomorrow?
No. Time is only an illusion, my boy. This is today. But 50 years ago, it was the future.
Well, it was the future even yesterday.
Take this volume, for instance. All the papers for June 1850. Well, suppose we're living in 1850, and it's early May like it is now, and I have all the papers for June. I can tell you everything that'll happen.
Just bring me the papers for next month, Pop, and you can name your own price.
Next month? Say, if I could get a hold of tomorrow's paper, just 24 hours from now, I'd give 10 years of my life.
How do you know you've got 10 years?
He's got you there, Larry.
Well, I don't know about tomorrow, but I know what'll happen in the next 5 minutes.
What?
We'll all get thirsty and go and drink some beer at Eden Gardens.
Eden Gardens. That's where I met Sylvia. She was working there in an act.
Introducing Professor Sigolini and his Sylvia. They tell the past, they tell the present, and they tell the future.
They were doing their mind-reading act when we came in. Sylvia was walking toward the stage as in a trance. But we were talking so hard I never even noticed her. Not until I almost bowled her over, I blurted out, "I beg your pardon." And for one tiny second, her eyes seemed to open. But just as I started to say something more...
Careful, young man, careful. Don't touch her.
Well, I didn't touch her, Professor. Did I, miss?
She cannot hear you, Signora. She's in a trance. I am the only one she can hear.
Well, then tell her I apologize.
Mrs. Sylvia is unaware of your presence. She can only see the invisible.
Can you make me invisible?
You can do that yourself by sitting down. This way, Sylvia. You will come to the stage.
Come on, Larry, sit down. You look as if you're dreaming.
She is a dream, Bob.
Ladies and gentlemen, are there any other questions? If not...
Wait. I have one.
Our young friend makes himself visible again. All right, your question, sir.
Well, it's very personal, Professor. You see, I'm in love, and there's something I'd like to know.
You wonder if she'll have the misfortune to marry you, eh?
Oh, no. I just want to know if she'll have lunch with me tomorrow.
Sylvia, the Signora wants to know if that girl he loves will have a lunch with him tomorrow.
Yes, she will.
That's wonderful. What time?
My dear sir, you will have to arrange that with your young lady.
I'd like to, Professor, but you see, she can't hear me.
You mean she's deaf?
No, she's in a trance. Hello.
Oh.
No, don't be frightened. I've been waiting for you to come out. Waiting in the night and fog.
I'm very sorry. I'm not accustomed to speaking with strangers.
No, I'm no stranger. Don't you remember me?
No.
Well, you answered my question.
I was in a trance. Besides, you were very rude.
Me? Rude?
You know you were.
Oh, how do you know if you were in a trance?
Well, excuse me, please. Cabby?
Yes, miss.
Won't you let me take you home?
No, thank you. Driver, 105 North Elm.
Yes, miss.
And take it easy. Go slow.
Yes,
No, go fast. I'm in a hurry.
yes, miss.
I'm not driver. Take your time.
Yes.
Now, look here, driver. Who hired this cab?
The gentleman did. He had me waiting here for half an hour.
Oh,
Oh, it's my pleasure, Miss Sylvia.
excuse me. I simply must
No. Don't go. Not yet. Not until I know if your prediction is right.
Prediction?
Don't you remember? The Signora wants to know if the girl he loves will have a lunch with him tomorrow. You said she will.
Well, I never remember what I say in a trance.
Well, if you do, I'll be waiting. At the Evening News, I'm a reporter.
Good night.
And the name is Stevens. Lawrence Stevens. Just ask for Larry.
Thank you. If I happen to remember, I'll ask for Larry. All right, driver.
She smiled. She likes me. She might even...
Larry!
Huh?
Larry!
Well, who is it? Where are you? Can't see a thing in this fog.
Hello, Larry.
Oh, it's you, Pop. Hey, you gave me quite a scare. Say, what are you doing out so late?
Didn't I tell you time doesn't exist? I've got something for you, Larry. Here.
Well, it's the Evening News. I've read it.
Maybe not.
Hey, Pop, you better try to sleep it off. You hear that? Midnight. Come on, I'll take you home.
No, thanks, my boy. We go different ways. Good night.
Well, good night, Pop.
And, Larry,
Yeah?
don't lose that paper. It's important.
small steak, potatoes, and coffee. That's a sort of hefty breakfast, Larry.
Oh, it's got to take the chill out of me bones. Pretty cold this morning, Mabel.
Fine weather for me, all right. And me without even an overcoat.
What's the matter, Joe? Things still tough?
Can't seem to find a job. Mind if I look at your paper, Larry?
No, I haven't got one.
Sure you have, right there in your pocket.
Oh, this. Well, that's the evening news, last night's.
Oh, that don't matter. It's the want ads I'm after.
Help yourself.
Thanks. Say, this ain't last night's paper. It's today's.
It can't be. Today's evening news hasn't gone to press yet.
What day is today?
Wednesday.
Well, this says Wednesday.
Wednesday? Must be a mistake. Here, let me look at it. That's funny. The weather report says snow. It didn't snow yesterday, did it?
No.
Unseasonable snowfall, 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't see any snow. Did you, Joe?
How could I? There wasn't any.
Not yesterday, there wasn't. There is today.
Huh?
Take a look out there. It's just starting to fall.
Mabel, what time is it?
What's the matter? Can't you see the clock? It's exactly 1 minute after 8.
Oh, it's ridiculous, Larry. Absolutely preposterous. And what's more, you wasted my entire morning.
You can't call it wasted, Mr. Gordon. Not if we scoop every paper in town.
With what? With a story that hasn't even happened?
But it's going to happen. I know it is. This afternoon at the Melba concert, a man and a woman are going to hold up the box office at 2 minutes past 2.
That's what I've been asking. How do you know?
Because it says so in...
Where? Why don't you explain?
Oh, I can't. I can't. I've told you I can't explain anything until I've talked to Pop Benson.
And I've told you Pop Benson hasn't shown up today.
Look, Mr. Gordon.
I've had enough of this tomfoolery. Now, go on, get out. Get out
Larry,
before...
hey, Larry. Larry, she's here.
Who?
As if you didn't know, you lucky dog. Miss Sylvia Smith.
Oh, good night. I forgot. Excuse me, please. Miss Sylvia,
Mr. Stevens.
this is a day of miracles.
Well, I was just passing by.
Oh, if you only knew how I've waited, counted the minutes. Tell me, do you happen to like music?
Good music, yes.
Would you go to the Melba concert with me? After lunch?
Well, it sounds very exciting.
Exciting. Miss Sylvia, you don't know the half of it.
But, Mr. Stevens, I don't understand. We came to hear Melba. Why should we stay out here in the lobby?
Well, the show will be over pretty soon.
Over? Well, the concert just started.
Well, I don't mean Melba. The real show is out here.
It is? What's going to happen?
A hold-up. A man and a woman. They'll pretend they want some tickets.
Oh, is this another one of your jokes? Do let's go in.
Oh, Miss Sylvia, please. It's 10 after now. All I ask is 2 more minutes, and if they don't come then...
Help! Help! Police!
Well, they did. They did. It happened. Come on, we'll have to run.
Stop them! Stop them! Stop me! Stop me!
Oh, Mr. Stevens, we haven't done anything. Why should we run?
Well, the first edition goes to press in 5 minutes. I can still get this story in.
How? You can't write a story like that in 5 minutes.
Well, I don't have to. I spent an hour writing it this morning.
Oh, what kind of a cock and bull story is this, anyway? When did you say this holdup took place?
I've told you, Mr. Gordon, 5 minutes ago.
And you mean you got back here and wrote this whole yarn in 5 minutes?
Now, don't ask a lot of silly questions. Miss Sylvia can prove it. She was there.
Miss Sylvia?
Well, I was there, but...
Oh, just tell me one thing. Was there a holdup?
There certainly was.
Inspector, anything wrong?
Just that hold-up at the Opera House.
You mean that... Hold the press! Hold the press!
Copy, boy, copy!
Thanks, Inspector. You're a real help.
Yeah? Well, maybe now you can help me a little, young man. What were you doing at the Opera House?
Oh, just taking this young lady to the concert.
Oh, now, Larry, you needn't be so modest. Tell him the truth. You told me this morning what would happen.
Just what I figured. The cashier followed you all the way.
Hey, just a minute.
Shut up.
You can't talk to me that way.
Shut up. Oh, now, take it easy, Inspector. Larry's the best reporter I've got.
You mean the best reporter you had? I'm holding him for investigation.
Lady Esther has presented Act One of It Happened Tomorrow, starring Frank Craven, Linda Darnell, and Dick Powell. In just a moment, we will hear the Lady Esther Screen Guild players in Act Two. But first, a word from our hostess, Lady Esther.
Suppose I were to say to you, no one is born with a dry, rough skin. No one is born with blackheads, big pores. And I can prove that no one needs to have an unattractive skin. I can prove it right now with my 30-second patch test. Then suppose you said, what is the patch test, and how will it prove that no one needs to have an unattractive skin? Well, here's how I would describe the patch test to you, and I do hope you'll try it tonight if you can. Just take a little Lady Esther face cream and rub it on one section of your face, wherever you want to make the test. A good place is your forehead or chin, or perhaps one cheek. The main thing is to apply the cream to just that one part of your face. Then wipe it off, and compare the difference between that patch of skin and all the rest of the skin around it. See how much brighter, fresher, and clearer it looks, how much finer and younger textured. Feel it. Touch it. Notice the delicate silken feel of it, the wonderful new softness and smoothness. You see, Lady Esther face cream does all the 4 things your skin needs most for beauty. 1, it cleans your skin thoroughly. 2, it softens your skin. 3, it helps nature refine the pores. And 4, it leaves a smooth, perfect base for powder. So make the patch test tonight for the sake of your appearance. Remember, what you see happen to that one patch of skin will happen to your whole face when you use Lady Esther 4-Purpose Face Cream. You'll look so much lovelier, so much more exciting after the very first application. Let the patch test prove it.
Well, that was a very unhappy afternoon at headquarters, and a very unhappy night. The inspector kept hammering away at me.
All I want is the truth, Larry. How long have you been mixed up with his mob?
Oh, I'm not mixed up with any mob. Just mixed up.
Well, if you weren't in with them, how did you know the holdup was going to happen?
Why don't you go and ask Pop Benson?
I've told you the old man has disappeared. Now, look, my boy, all you've got to do is talk and you'll get out of here. Just tell us where we can collar those desperados.
I tell you, I don't know.
Okay, then sit here and look at those bars on the window. I'll be outside when you want to talk.
Oh, how did I ever get into this? Why did I ever...
Larry!
Pop.
Larry!
Pop, where are you?
Out here, my boy. Open the window.
Oh, gosh. Pop, they've been looking all over for you. Where you been?
Oh, just taking a sort of a vacation.
I'm crazy. Did I meet you last night, or did I dream it? Well, for heaven's sakes, tell me. Did you give me a newspaper?
Didn't do you any good, did it, Larry?
Oh, I'm in a jam, Pop. Nobody believes me. I can't get out of here. Well, why don't you say something? Why do you look at me that way?
Well, I'm just surprised to see you here, that's all. You should be out by now.
Oh, who says so?
I just read it in this paper.
Don't tell me that's tomorrow's evening news.
Isn't that what you want?
No.
Well, very well, then.
Wait, Pop, wait. I'm crazy as a bedbug. I don't know. But does that paper say anything about those bandits?
Oh, yes. Says here they've been arrested.
When were they? Where?
Tomorrow afternoon, 1:00, in the Union Bank. The police were waiting for them. Matter of fact, you wrote this story yourself. Eyewitness account. If you'd like to see it.
No, I never want to see that paper again.
Well, then I might as well be getting along. Good night.
Pop, wait. Come back. Pop!
You calling me?
No, Inspector, I was... Oh, yes. Maybe.
Well, are you ready to talk?
I can tell you where you'll get those bandits.
Now we're getting somewhere.
1 p.m. tomorrow, the Union Bank. All you have to do is wait for them. Now can I go?
Okay. You figure you'll be there to wait with us, maybe.
Oh, don't you worry, Inspector. I was there.
How do you like that, huh? Scoop the whole
Can you beat it? He was right at the Union Bank, just when they picked those bandits up.
Come on, Larry. Tell us how you did it.
Okay. You fellas won't believe me. But anything I want to know, I can find out.
Oh, great story, Larry. Great story. The first edition went like hotcakes. You know, I think you're due for a raise.
Oh, thanks. Say, Mr. Gordon, could I get a $100 advance?
I guess so. You're not thinking of getting married, are you?
Why not?
Listen to him. Anything he wants to know, he can find out. And he has to borrow $100 because he's found a girl.
That's right. Larry, if what you say is true, you can hand her $1 million.
How?
By picking all 5 winners at the racetrack tomorrow. How about it, Larry? What do you say?
Oh, well, nothing. Well, anyway, not till I've seen Pop Benson.
12 o'clock, Larry. No use waiting for Pop anymore.
It's funny he doesn't show up, Mr. Gordon.
Oh, he's been here so long, he's a privileged character. Has a right to get drunk once in a while. If I were you, I'd forget it and go home.
I guess I might as well. Good night.
Good night, my boy.
No. I can't figure it out. All of a sudden, he disappears.
Larry!
Pop! Oh, Pop, I've been hunting high and low for you. Look, Pop. Pop, I was wrong last night. I said I never wanted to see that paper again, but I do. Please, I'll never ask you again. Just this once. Oh, I've got to know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, I've got the paper here, Larry, but it won't do you any good.
It will. It'll make me rich. I'll have everything I want in the world.
Is money all you want in this world?
No, I've got everything else. I'm in love. Please let me have it, Pop. Oh, thanks.
Now remember, you took it. I didn't give it to you.
Yeah, I know. Here it is, the back page. First race, Lamplighter. Second, Mudlark. Lightning, Ramona, Black Flash. Pop, my whole life is on this back page.
It might be on the first page, too.
The first page? What do you mean? Oh, I know, I know another story. Well, might as well have a look. After all, I'm still a reporter. Just because I want to... Hey, I'm in the headlines. Larry Stevens shot to death, lobby of St. George Hotel. St. George Hotel at 6:25 p.m. today. Larry Stevens, star reporter for the Evening News, was shot and killed. Hey, Pop, what is this? Oh, why should I be... Pop, where are you? Where did you go? Pop, come back! Please, Sylvia, you've got to marry me. Today, this morning, right now. I love you.
Oh, but Mr. Stevens, it's so early.
Oh, but I didn't sleep a wink all night. And then I had to find out where you live and... Oh, please, you've got to marry me before I die.
Oh, but you're still young.
Awfully fast. Darling, you never can tell what's going to happen. I could be dead by tonight. This evening, by 6:25.
Dead?
Yes. And then whom would I leave my money to?
Money? I didn't know you were rich.
Well, I'm not, but it will be this afternoon. Sylvia, darling, say you will. Oh, I love you so much. Say you love me, too.
Must I say it, Larry?
Oh, you will. You're going to marry me. Come on, darling, come on. We'll have to hurry.
Well, why so fast?
We got to be at the racetrack by 2 o'clock. Lamplighter, the first race. What are the odds?
20 to 1. You want to make a bet, mister?
$100 on the nose.
100 to win. There's your ticket.
Oh, Larry, isn't 100 too much? Suppose you lose.
Well, I can't, Sylvia. I can't lose today.
But suppose you do, dear.
If I do, well, that'll be worth every nickel I've got. Oh, I know, darling. It had to happen.
$2,000? What do we do with it?
Oh, keep on pyramiding. Mudlark in the second, Lightning in the third, Ramona in the fourth, and Black Flash in the fifth.
Oh, are you sure they'll all win?
Yeah, I'm positive. I haven't got a chance.
Black Flash lost.
Sure he did. It was my last chance.
Oh, darling, I don't understand.
Well, if the back page can be wrong, the front page can be wrong.
But that meant $60,000 to us, and you're so happy.
Well, why not? Why not, darling? We're married, aren't we? Oh, and I love you, and you love me.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. In the race which has just been run, number 7, Diablo, has been disqualified. The winner of the 5th race is Black Flash.
Larry, it is Black Flash. We've won after all.
Oh, darling, let's get out of here. I don't think I feel so well.
Oh, Larry, it's been a wonderful day, hasn't it?
Yes, so far, what time is it?
There's a jeweler's clock over there.
6:20.
I know. You're wondering where you're going to take me to dinner.
So I'm really not very hungry now.
No? Well, when do you think you'll have an appetite?
It's 6:26.
Oh, you're joking again, darling. Where shall we go? I know, the St. George Hotel, huh?
St. George... Oh, no!
Oh, but darling, it's very nice there, and it's our wedding night.
Sylvia, please, if you love me, darling.
Well, it isn't as if we can't afford it. We can. You've got $60,000 in your wallet.
Well, it isn't the money, honestly. Money doesn't mean a thing to me.
It does to me.
What?
I've been following you all the way from the track. Come on, now, hand over that wallet.
Oh, give it to him, Larry. He's got a gun.
Yeah, that's being smart. Thanks, mister, and don't try to follow me. You might get yourself hurt.
Driver, stop. Stop him. Stop him. Stop thief. Stop thief. In there, officer. He went through that door.
All right, let's go.
There he is, going up the stairs.
You there, halt! In the name of the law!
Careful, he's got a gun.
Stop for your I'll shoot! All right!
He got him.
Just imagine a shooting in a hotel like this.
Well, after all, ma'am, we had... Hotel? What hotel?
The St. George, of course.
The St. George... The... Boing.
Help! Help, this man's fainted!
Too bad, all right. Larry was a swell guy.
Oh, who'd have thought this morning he'd been dead tonight? Well, anyway, he'll have a swell obit in the last edition.
Mr. Gordon.
Yes?
Mr. Gordon, today I've got the greatest... Hey, what's the matter? What are you all looking at me like that?
Larry, you're supposed to be dead.
Yeah, I know. What do you think?
You're alive. Yes, you're alive. Oh, this is awful. Hold the press! Hold the press!
What's the matter? What's it all about?
The manager of the St. George phoned in, said you'd been shot.
Oh, no. That was the hold-up man.
Well, he had your wallet on him.
Yeah, I know.
With $60,000 in it. Where'd you get that?
I can't tell you now. First, I've got to see Pop.
Pop?
You mean you haven't heard? Heard what? The old man's dead.
Dead?
When? Remember we were kidding him 3 nights ago? He went home and he died in his sleep that night. That all happened a long time ago. It's a strange story, isn't it? Very strange. I have no right to expect you'll believe it. Even Sylvia's never believed it. And you know, sometimes I scarcely believe it myself.
Thank you, Dick Powell, Linda Darnell, and Frank Craven for a delightful half hour.
Oh, it's been lots of fun, Mr. Bradley. And our appearance here with the Lady Esther Screen Guild Players is always doubly pleasurable because we all know the wonderful work being done by the Motion Picture Relief Fund and its country house and clinic, a work which derives its support largely from these radio shows. Dick Powell will be back in a moment, but first, a word from one of America's foremost beauty authorities, Lady Esther.
Thank you, Miss Darnell. Ladies, if you are one of those who have not yet made the Lady Esther patch test, I hope you won't put it off any longer. Make this 30-second test tonight. For the sooner you do, the sooner you will have smoother, fresher, more youthful-looking skin. To make the patch test, just rub a little Lady Esther face cream on one part of your face. Choose a rough, flaky section of skin. Your forehead's a good place, or perhaps one cheek. All you do is rub on Lady Esther face cream, wipe it off, and see the result in your mirror. See how much brighter, clearer, and fresher that patch of skin looks than any other part of your face. Get right up close to your mirror and examine that patch of skin. See how much smoother and finer textured it looks compared to the skin around it. Touch it with your fingers. Feel the baby-like softness of it, the wonderful new smoothness. And remember, what you see happen to that one patch of skin will happen to your whole face when you apply Lady Esther 4-Purpose Face Cream. For this one cream does all the 4 things your skin needs most for beauty. Lady Esther Face Cream instantly wakens your skin to new life, to dazzling new freshness. And the patch test proves it.
And now, here is Dick Powell.
With 50,000 doctors and an equal number of nurses in the armed forces, medical facilities in every neighborhood are taxed to their limit. So it becomes vitally important that every mother should know how to protect her home, her children, and her neighbors. A Red Cross home nursing course will help you save the valuable time of the nation's doctors and nurses and may someday save the life of your child or husband. Call your local Red Cross chapter tomorrow and enroll for the Red Cross home nursing course.
Next week, the Lady Esther Screen Guild players will present Shop-Worn Angel. It will star Adolphe Menjou, Lorraine Day, and Robert Walker. Be sure to listen. Linda Darnell is currently working in the 20th Century Fox production Hangover Square. Dick Powell appeared through the courtesy of RKO Studios and the sponsors of his own Sunday radio show, The Pitch Bandwagon. Music on tonight's program was arranged and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Your druggist should have Lady Esther 4-Purpose Face Cream. If he's out of it, all he has to do is write or wire Lady Esther Chicago, and he will be supplied. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Alright, that was Screen Guild Theater's production of It Happened Tomorrow with Dick Powell in the lead role. Now, I am a huge fan of this radio show, not Screen Guild Theater, It Happened Tomorrow. I have heard probably, this one was done by I think all of the, maybe it was just because, maybe it was like public domain or something, I'm not sure, but this play was done by all of the movie on radio shows. You can find a version of it for all of those shows. And McLean, you wanna tell the audience a bit about our history with It Happened Tomorrow?
Well, I suppose I will, Jake. Back when we contributed our talents to a radio station, we had a half-hour slot that we dedicated to sketch comedy, most of which was original material, but occasionally we would adapt a old-time radio script or any such thing like that for our little program.
Yeah, and I believe I was the one who wanted to do It Happened Tomorrow because I'd heard the Lux Radio Theater version of it. So I stayed up very late one night listening to the episode for like 5 seconds at a time and transcribing the script. I couldn't find the script online or anything anywhere.
It's a tedious process.
It is, so I had to transcribe the whole thing. Then I had to cut it down so it would fit within a half hour. Lux Radio Theater was an hour long, our show was a half hour. So we cut it down, and we got the old cast together, recorded it, and it became a radio show that aired on the radio.
Yeah, you said that you had adapted it because you had heard the program. I hadn't actually heard this version of it until well after we had recorded ours. So my first encounter with this program, with this play, with this movie was myself and our fellow actors.
And I remember when we were recording it, of course none of the other cast members had ever heard it either. And I believe it was McKenna who played the female lead in the show, who was, after we finished recording, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I thought they were dead the whole time. I thought he was dead. I thought she was dead." I thought she was really sucked in by the drama of it all. We just portrayed it so well. Anyway, I think it'd be cool to just play a little couple of clips from that here to show you how we sort of translated it to our style. So here's some scenes from our version of It Happened Tomorrow.
Pop, is that you? I can't see you. Oh, there. I guess I can't see much in the dark.
I've been waiting for you, Larry.
You've been working all this time?
Oh, no. I locked up the office some time ago.
Well, what are you doing around here this time of night?
I wanted to see you. I got something for you.
What's that? Oh, evening news. I already read one that came out this afternoon.
Maybe not.
My uncle and I are mind readers, Lombardi and Sylvia. Sometimes I can see into the future.
Well, can you see what's about to happen right now? You and me and him are all going down to the police headquarters for a nice little chat.
Don't you see? If the sports page can be wrong, the front page can be wrong too. I'm not gonna be shot.
What do you mean you're not going to be shot?
Ladies and gentlemen, the judges have the following announcement.
Larry, what was that about being...
Shh, quiet.
Horse 7, Diablo, has been disqualified from the previous race. The winner is Black Flash.
Now, of course, far be it from me to say that ours was better or more superior, better acted out, had more passion with the reading of the lines.
Okay, McLean,
I'm gonna let the listeners decide that for themselves.
Alright, well, you can go ahead and present our next show then, McLean.
Alright, well, our next program here that we'd like to present is Old Gold Comedy Theater's June Moon. Now, June Moon was a play originally, like many of a lot of popular movies back then started out as plays, and then was eventually turned into a pre-code movie in the 1930s, and of course was adapted. I think it's one of the lesser known kind of films, like you said, some of the not so great or not so iconic movies to be transcribed into radio. But I think it's decent. It's definitely a good film, and I like the name. And I like the premise of it. I think there's a lot of like good elements to this, even if it's not necessarily the best execution, I suppose. I'm just saying it's not Casablanca, but it's definitely not bad. I like it a lot. And this show, actually, Old Gold Comedy Theater, was hosted by Harold Lloyd. It's kind of ironic. Harold Lloyd was a very insanely popular silent movie star in the 20s and 30s. And now he's using only his voice on
I tell you, McLean, someday they'll be able to combine silent movies and the radio, and they'll make talking pictures. It'll happen.
It'll never catch on. But yeah, Harold Lloyd is an interesting character himself when you think about his career. I think he's kind of thought of as a poor man's Charlie Chaplin, and he kind of started out that way. With his Lonesome Luke character, he played kind of like Charlie Chaplin played his Little Tramp character. But I think a case could be made that Harold Lloyd eventually surpassed Charlie Chaplin and deserves to be thought of on his own merits.
Did he make more movies than Charlie Chaplin?
He did make more movies. Wikipedia here, the handy source that it is, points out that Harold Lloyd made 12 feature films in the 20s, while Chaplin made just 4. And I think Harold Lloyd's kind of lost to time to a certain extent, and I really think that's a shame because he made some great silent movies. The first one I saw was The Freshman, which the main reason I saw it was because I like old football movies, and it focuses a lot on football. Interestingly enough, the next movie I saw of his was The Sin of Harold Diddlebach.
Which was his last film, wasn't it?
Which was his last film,
and it was a talkie in like the 40s.
It was also a talkie made in 1947. It was made like 22 years later. Technically speaking, it's a sequel of The Freshman, and that's why I watched it. But it's really kind of tacked on. Like, you do not need to have seen The Freshman to see The Sin of Harold Diddlebach. And despite the ridiculous name, actually a pretty good movie. I was surprised because I thought it would be this old has-been Hollywood actor trying to recapture the glory days and doing some goofy antics on screen, but no, it actually really worked.
I recently bought the collection of the Harold Lloyd films from the 20s and 30s. I have to say, I have just fallen in love with those movies. Harold Lloyd has got to be the best silent film maker of his time. He was just a master at his craft, and honestly, it is a shame that he's not more well known today. I think he's better than Charlie Chaplin, better than anyone else you think of when you think of the silent movie era.
Me too, and I don't know. I guess Charlie Chaplin just has such an iconic figure. He's such a cultural, monumental figure that every other silent film star kind of just fades into the background, which I think is a real shame. Like you said, I think he's much better than Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, this is Old Gold Comedy Theater with June Moon from May 27th, 1945.
And check out Harold Lloyd movies, people. Come on.
From Hollywood, California, the makers of Old Gold cigarettes present the Comedy Theater. The only radio program that brings you every week the greatest stars in the greatest comedies. Tonight's play is June Moon, starring Jack Carson and Frank McHugh. And here is the director of the Old Gold Comedy Theater, Mr. Harold Lloyd.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our play tonight is the celebrated stage success, June Moon. We are very fortunate to be able to secure the services of two such well-known stars as Jack Carson and Frank McHugh. Those of you who have been watching Jack's rise, and particularly those who are currently seeing the Warner Brothers picture, Roughly Speaking, and are familiar with his Campbell's Soup program, know all about Jack. And as for Frank McHugh, well, his stellar work in picture after picture has made him universally known. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I present our stars, Jack Carson and Frank McHugh. Every year, thousands of young hopefuls pack their valises and head for New York. From Keokuk to Kalamazoo, from Topeka to Tarzana, come youngsters eager to set the big town on fire. Take our hero, Fred Lane. His ambition is to be a big-time lyric writer. With a song in his heart, Freddie is aboard the Gotham Express heading for Tin Pan Alley. In the opposite seat from him is a charming young lady. Any minute now, Fred can be expected to drum up a conversation.
New Haven! New Haven!
Would you care for a cigarette, miss?
Why, yes. Thank you.
That's all right. I guess I should introduce myself. Here's my card.
Fred Lane, lyric writer.
Uh-huh. Say, what's your name?
Edna Baker.
Baker? Well, it's nice to meet you, Miss Baker.
Likewise, I'm sure. By the way, what is a lyric writer, Mr. Lane?
Well, you know, the guy that writes the words for songs. Like, Mary Dotes and Dozy Dotes, a little lamb, she... Of course, I don't sing it so good, but anybody can sing them, but writing them, that's what takes the talent. Only one guy in a million has it. Take the lyric I wrote the other day. It's a natural. It can't miss.
Really? What's it called?
Well, I've only got a tentative title so far. I call it When You Were 8 and I Was 9 and We Were 17.
I see. How does the music go?
Oh, I don't write the music. I leave that to Johnny Michaels. He's the fellow I'm going to see in New York. You know, Johnny's the chap that wrote, Don't lift the jukebox, mother, you know you can't carry a tune.
Gonna work with you?
Yeah, I've got a letter to him right in my pocket here from Carl Hoff, the famous orchestra leader.
How wonderful. Do you know him, too?
Oh, sure. I went backstage when he played a one-nighter in Salem, Massachusetts. Carl took one look at my lyrics and he said, Brother, you better get to New York. And he gave me this letter. It said Johnny Michaels was looking for a talented young lyric writer.
And then what did you do?
Well, I went right down to the girdle factory and I told the boss this was my big chance. He didn't want to stand in my way. Still... He didn't know how the two-way stretch department would get along without me.
Two-way stretch department?
Yeah. I work with another fellow as a team. You see, while he stretches east to west, I stretch north to south.
You don't say.
Yeah, but don't tell anybody on the train there's a girdle shortage, and you know how those things spread.
Something tells me you'll do all right in New York.
Oh, sure. Good lyric writers don't grow on every tree. Why, it's certainly dark out, isn't it? Nothing but a big, round moon.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
That's right. It's a June moon.
June moon? This is May.
Oh, it doesn't matter. June and moon go together. They rhyme, see?
That'd be a catchy title, June Moon. For a song, I mean.
It's not bad. Let's see. Spoon, croon, soon, goon. I think I got something there. June Moon.
Oh, I know it'll be a great hit.
Well, if it is, I'll owe it all to you. You were my inspiration. Listen, Edna, how would you like to have something to eat when we get to New York?
Oh, I'd love to.
Do you know any place where we could go for a bite?
We might go to the Little Venice.
Little Venice? Is it expensive?
Oh, no. The last time I went, there were just two of us, and we had hot roast beef sandwiches and pie and coffee, and it only came to $1.20.
Well, swell. I guess we can each afford 60 cents.
I suppose we can manage.
I'll pay the tip. Don't you worry about that.
Last stop, New York. New York, last stop.
Johnny Michaels, here I come.
Do not lift the jukebox, mother. You know you cannot carry a tune. Do not lift the jukebox, mother. You'll be 97 soon. It's great, isn't it, Lucille?
Yeah, Johnny, it was great 7 years ago.
Okay, I'll admit sales are beginning to drop off a little.
Drop off a little. If they drop off any more, they'll have to wear a belt and suspenders.
Have a heart, Lucille. I got a new lyric writer coming in. A Massachusetts kid. That stuff is always great. One codfish ball.
Codfish ball. I'd like one. I haven't had a decent meal in months.
Maybe that's him now. Oh, it's you, Eileen. It's your sister, Lucille.
Oh, hello, Eileen.
I'm glad you're here, Eileen. I got a live wire kid coming up here tonight. Carl Hoff says he's the hottest lyric writer since Irving Berlin hit the street. Carl found him working in a girdle factory.
Yeah? Well, I hope he shows up with some girdles. The one I'm wearing now has been retreaded 3 times.
That's him now. Wait till you hear this kid's lyrics. They'll kill you.
Oh, fine. That's the way we love to spend Saturday night, listening to some young punk tear out his tonsils.
How do you do? My name is Lane.
Come on in, Mr. Lane. I'm Johnny Michaels. We've been waiting for you. Allow me to introduce you. This is my wife, Lucille, and this is my sister-in-law, Eileen Page.
Well, I'm mighty glad to meet you, Mrs. Michaels, and it's really a pleasure to greet you, Miss Page.
Carl tells me you're a great lyric writer, Mr. Lane. Have you brought your stuff with you?
Oh, sure, Mr. Michaels.
Okay, time's a-wasting. Let's hear it.
Well, this one I call the Greyhound Bus Song. Bow, wow, wow, went the Greyhound. Bump, 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 went the wheel. Honk, 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 went the horn. When I saw her, I knew it was real.
Hey, wait a minute, kid. That's a trolley song.
Well, Carl Hoff said that's the stuff I could do, stuff like the trolley song.
Yeah, but he said stuff like it. He didn't say to write it all over again.
Oh, you didn't like that one, huh? Okay, I'll give you another idea.
Okay, let's hear it.
I call this one June Moon.
June Moon, huh? Say, that's not a bad title. How's it go?
Well, I haven't got any music for it yet, but here are the words. June moon shining above. Will my true love come soon?
Hey, wait a minute. Maybe I can get a melody for that. Here, try it to this tune. See if it fits.
Okay. June moon shining above. Will my true love come soon?
Say, that's okay. I think we got something there.
You like it? You didn't let me finish it.
I think you got the stuff, kid.
Really? How about you, Miss Eileen?
Not bad.
With ideas like that, we'll be right on top in no time.
You really mean it, Johnny?
Do I? I can see it right now in every music stand in the country. June Moon. Why, we'll be one of the greatest teams in the history of the music business. Rogers and Hart, De Silva, Brown, and Henderson move over. Here come Michaels and Lane with a hit of the century, June Moon.
And, Bob Williams, aren't there times when a fella feels awfully cheap?
True enough, Harold. Like when a guy spots a bill collector coming to his house. He turns off the radio, ducks out of sight, and refuses to answer the doorbell. Everything is quiet as a mouse. And then Junior suddenly yells, "Daddy, why are you hiding in the closet?" Well, now, Pop needn't hang on a clothes hook. All he's got to do is look at things this way.
Why be irritated? Light an Old Gold.
Yes, smokers, you'll always ring the bell for pleasure with an Old Gold cigarette, especially today. But listen, you can't get that pleasure if your cigarette is hot, harsh, and dry. Therefore,
to help prevent cigarette dryness, Old Golds are conditioned with a special moisture-protecting agent made from the juice of fresh apples. We call it apple honey.
what more, Old Gold's magnificent blend of many great tobaccos is enriched with rare imported Latakia tobacco for delightful extra flavor.
Extra flavor, plus special protection against cigarette dryness.
That's Old Gold. Whenever you can, try a pack. And look, Dad, when Junior pulls a squeeze play on you, why be irritated? Light an Old Gold. And now back to Harold Lloyd and the second act of tonight's Old Gold Comedy Theater presentation, June Moon, starring Jack Carson and Frank McHugh. All right, Mr. Lloyd.
Fred Lane, the Salem Flash, may not have taken New York by storm, but he has certainly made a hit with Johnny Michaels, his collaborator. As the scene opens, these two deathless creators are seated at the Steinway, earnestly wooing the muse. In other words, a song is about to be born.
That's the part that gets me, Freddie. If we can lick this middle section, we'll be in.
But gee, it ought to be easy, Johnny. Sweet night bird winging aloft.
Wait a minute. I think I've got it. Listen to this, Lucille.
Johnny, that sounds good, but isn't it a little bit familiar?
It's familiar, all right. That smoke gets in your eyes.
Oh, I knew I'd heard it.
Try again, Buster.
Oh, it ought to be easy. Sweet night bird winging aloft.
Oh, for Pete's sake, Johnny, do we have to spend the whole night listening to that thing? Yeah, I'm getting a headache. Don't you two boys ever get tired? Let's go places and do things, Freddie.
Well, all right, I'm not worried. I came to town with $200.
$200? This guy really has talent. Hey, wait a minute. How much of that have you got left?
$195.
This is a fast man with a buck. Say, this is great. Let's go out and celebrate.
Celebrate what? Gee, Mrs. Michaels, I'm living on a budget.
Oh, what do you care? Charge it off to the income tax.
Oh, gee, Miss Eileen, I can't go out tonight. You see, I got a date with a young lady.
Well, break it.
Oh, I couldn't do that to Miss Edna Baker. It might hurt her feelings.
What about my feelings?
Oh, why, Miss Eileen, there must be hundreds of fellas just waiting to take you out.
Well, I don't like them. I'm interested in you, Freddie boy.
Gosh, do you really mean that, Miss Eileen?
Of course, you have such a delightful personality, and you're so charming.
I am?
Of course you are. Listen to me, Freddie boy. A man like you owes it to his profession to mingle with people, go to nightclubs, and get around.
Do you really think it's good for my career?
Sure it is. Come on, we'll make it the Martinique. Carl Hoff's playing there tonight.
The Martinique it is. Put on your toupee, Johnny. We're hitting the high spots tonight.
Gee, you're a good dancer, Miss Eileen. You're so light on your feet.
Thanks. You're so light on them, too.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's just because I'm not used to these new dances. Back home, mostly we do the turkey trot.
If you're the partner, it must be pretty hard on the turkey.
Gee, Miss Eileen, you're so witty. You know, I never met anybody like you before.
Well, how about that Miss Edna Baker you talk about?
Edna Baker? Oh, she's just a kid I met on the train. Say, that's a great idea.
Oh, what ails you now?
Kid I met on the train. Great title for a song. Chug, chug, chug went the choo-choo. Bing, bing, bing went the bell.
You know the thing I like about you, kid? You're so original.
Yeah.
Come on, let's hobble back to the table.
Okay.
Well, how'd you enjoy the dance, Eileen?
Oh, loved it. Pass me my bag, will you, Lucille? I think I've got a Dr. Scholl's corn plaster in there.
How'd you like the music, Freddie?
Oh, great. But you know something, Johnny? I don't think Carl Hoff remembered me. I waved at him 4 times as I passed the bandstand, and he never waved back.
Well, maybe he's nearsighted.
Hey, waiter, another bourbon. Holy smoke, look who just blew in. Morris Norris.
Norris Morris? Who's that?
Why, he's the biggest publisher in town.
Yeah, and the hardest one to see.
Morris Norris? He looks like... He looks like a friendly chap.
Friendly as a top sergeant. Oh, brother. If we could only get him to listen to our song.
Well, that's easy, Johnny. All we have to do is to ask Carl. He'll play it for us.
Say, that's not a bad idea. Come on, Freddie, let's go up and ask him.
All right, Johnny, but you know, Carl sort of brushed me off when we passed the bandstand.
Forget it, kid. In this town, you gotta have brass. Oh, Carl, hiya.
Hello, Johnny. I know. We haven't played Don't Lift the Jukebox Mother, but we'll get around to it pretty quick.
No, that's not what I wanted to see you about. You remember the kid here, Fred Lane.
You remember me, Carl. Civic Auditorium, Salem.
Oh, sure. Best little trumpet player I ever met.
I write lyrics.
Oh, yeah. Best little lyric writer I ever met.
Listen, Carl, me and the kid here have a great number. Morris Norris just walked in. I'd like you to play it just for a gag.
Oh, let me look at it. You got a lead sheet?
Oh, yeah, here it is. We even brought the whole arrangement. I'll pass it out while you're looking at it.
June Moon, huh? Hey, it doesn't sound too bad. All right, Johnny, I'll do it for you.
I'll sing the lyrics for you, Carl.
Oh, you will, huh?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's one thing they say about Hoff, a glutton for punishment. All right, boys, let's take it from the top and do the best you can.
June moon shining above, will my true love come soon? June moon, I am so blue, I know that you long for her too. Sweet night bird winging aloft, singing a soft love tune. Tell her to come to me here, to me and her dear June. Thanks, Carl.
That's not bad, kid. I wish you lots of luck.
Say, Johnny, you think Morris Norris looks interested?
Interested? Why, he ate it up. Come on, let's go over and see him.
Okay. They gave it a pretty good hand, and don't forget the orchestra never even saw it before.
Your singing didn't do it much good, pal. Hello, Mr. Norris. You remember me? Johnny Michaels? I hate to bother you while you're talking here with your girl.
I beg your pardon. This is my wife.
Oh, I'm mighty glad to meet you, Mrs. Norris. Mr. Norris, I just came over to ask you, how did you like that tune?
What tune?
June Moon. The one Carl Hoff just played.
Didn't hear it.
Well, you must have heard it, Mr. Norris. I just sang it. June moon shining above.
I didn't hear it. What's more, I don't want to hear it.
Well, look here, Mr. Norris. That's a terrible attitude to take.
Are you telling me how to run my business, young man?
Well, somebody ought to tell you. I know you're rich and famous, but it's guys like me that put you where you are today.
I've had about enough of this. Wait a my check, please. Come on, Zenobia. We're going home.
But, Morris, we just got here.
Zenobia, don't argue. We're going home where I can isolate myself from these pests.
Well, we may as well. My girdle is so tight it's killing me.
Yeah, I'll get a new one.
Where am I going to get a new one? You get it for me, big shot.
For heaven's sake, Zenobia, stop complaining and come on home.
But, Mr. Norris.
Good night, gentlemen.
Oh, gee.
Come on, Fred. Let's get back to our table and have a drink.
Yeah. I guess there's other fish in the sea, huh?
Yeah, and we can always talk about the big one that got away. Don't let little annoyances get you down.
All right. As they say every Sunday night, why be irritated? Light a bowl of Campbell's soup.
Well, sometimes life is maddening. Don't you agree with me, Bob Williams?
Harold, I certainly do. Here's what happens to a friend of mine. He's all set to see a swell movie, and just as he settles down in the one remaining balcony seat, the gal next to him starts cracking peanuts and tramping the shells under her feet. Now, what do you think he did? You'd be surprised. He merely leaned back and said,
"Why be irritated? Light an Old Gold."
Yes, smokers, one double feature you'll always enjoy is Old Gold's grand extra flavor plus special protection against cigarette dryness. Because, you see,
Old Gold's magnificent blend of many great tobaccos with its touch of rare, keen-tasting Latakia tobacco is conditioned with the special moisture-protecting agent we call apple honey. Made from the juice of fresh apples, it helps prevent cigarette dryness. You hit the jackpot in smoking pleasure when you light an Old Gold.
Easier said than done, perhaps, since quantity is limited, and limited for these understandable reasons. First, Old Gold quality is held a full 24-carat standard. Second, our armed forces get first call on all cigarettes we make. And yet we're doing our best to assure you your share of remaining Old Golds. So, if you must take a substitute brand today, remember, your dealer may have Old Golds tomorrow. And now back to Harold Lloyd and the third act of tonight's Old Gold Comedy Theater presentation, June Moon, starring Jack Carson and Frank McHugh. All right, Mr. Lloyd.
Well, a week has passed, and it looks as though the June moon is hidden behind a big black cloud. The unfortunate incident at the Martinique seems to have started a streak of bad luck for Michaels and Lane. Yes, every publisher along Tin Pan Alley has turned thumbs down on their song.
What's the use of kidding ourselves, pal? The only guy with vision enough to publish this solid tune is Morris Norris.
Yeah, I fixed that good the other night. I guess I better go back to my hometown.
Don't be discouraged, Fred. Things will start looking up.
Isn't only that, Johnny.
What's on your mind, kid?
Well, for a while, Miss Eileen acted as though she kind of liked me, but ever since that night at the Martinique, she just hasn't been the same.
Look, kid, maybe you're not so hep to city ways yet. You see, it looked for a time there like you were going to have a hit, a little dough. So Eileen kind of took a shine to you. But when the song didn't go, she just went looking for other prospects.
You mean she's a gold digger? Oh, I'll never believe that of Eileen.
Oh, Eileen's kicked around a lot. Maybe she's not so good for you. Better forget it. Look, let's make the slate clean. How about shelving June Moon and going on with some other tune?
No, sir. June Moon is a great song, and I believe in it. I'll see you later.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm going over to see Morris Norris. I'm no quitter, and I got a few tricks left.
Freddie, wait!
Hey, where do you think you're going, Freddie? You almost knocked me down.
I'm sorry, Lucille. Excuse me, Eileen.
What's the matter with him?
Oh, he's got some crazy idea. He's going to sell June Moon to Morris Norris.
Well, for heaven's sake, why didn't you stop him, Johnny? He'll ruin you with Norris for life.
What are you worried about? He'll never get in to see Morris Norris.
Well, if he does, you're sunk. All he has to do is insult him the way he did the other night, and Norris will never publish a tune of yours as long as you live.
Gee, that's right. This is terrible.
What are you waiting for? Come on, we got to get up there and stop him.
What can I do for you?
Is Morris Norris in? Are you his secretary?
Yes, I suppose you want to see him.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's impossible. He's in conference.
Yeah, but look, this is very important. I represent the Keep Yourself Together Girdle Company.
Girdles? Well, maybe he isn't in conference. You go right in.
Mr. Morris Norris, I'm Fred Lane. I represent the Keep Yourself Together Girdle Company.
Well, I'm mighty glad to see you, Mr. Lane.
Thank you very much. I brought along a girdle for your wife. Here.
Why, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Why? I'd almost like to wear it myself. Thanks.
That's the finest girdle on the market.
Oh, it sure is. Thanks again.
You're entirely welcome. Now, Mr. Norris, about that song I wrote.
Song you wrote?
Mm-hmm.
What is all this?
That's June Moon. You know, Carl Hoff played it for you at the Martinique.
The Martinique? Well, I thought you looked familiar.
Well, of all the dirty Get out. Now, Mr. Norris, please, be fair. You've never even heard the song.
Get out.
Mr. Norris, didn't I give you a girdle?
Well... Well, that's true, but that's no excuse for
Mr.
coming
Norris, after all, they don't go giving them away to us either, you know. And Zenobia really needs one.
Well, she certainly does. All right, go ahead. There's the piano. You play it, and I'll listen.
Okay. June moon shining above.
Is Mr. Norris in?
I'm sorry, Mr. Michaels, but nobody can see him. He's in conference.
We don't want to see him. All we want to know is who's in there with him.
Sorry, we don't give out confidential information.
Look, this is very serious. We've got to know who's in there with Mr. Norris.
Oh, keep your shirt on. Just some kid from a girdle factory.
Oh, he got in.
Oh, we're sunk.
That's the end of me with Morris Norris.
This is awful. He's the only guy that ever would publish your songs.
Well, hello, Michael.
Gee, Mr. Norris.
Hello, Johnny. What are you doing here? Hello, girls.
Mr. Norris, how can I ever explain...
Explain what? You've got a terrific number. I think it's a surefire hit. Well, congratulations.
Are you kidding?
I always told you to stick with Norris, and you'd be one of the top men in the music business.
You hear that, Lucille? We're in.
I can hardly believe it. Freddie, oh, darling, I knew you'd do it.
You knew I'd do it. That's a laugh.
Why, Freddie, what's the matter with you? Aren't you happy?
No, I'm not happy. I thought you really liked me, Eileen. But I guess you are just a gold digger. And Mr. Norris, you're a big disappointment to me, too. I thought you were a man of great vision, but it turns out your wife was just in need of a girdle. And you, Johnny, you've been nice to me, but that's only because I have a little talent as a lyric writer. You see, you had an axe to grind, too.
Well, you see, that's the big city, Freddie.
If that's the big city, you can have it.
But, Mr. Lane, what about the contract?
You can have that, too, Mr. Norris. I'm going back to Salem. I had a good job there. I'm just beginning to find out how good it was.
Waterbury. Waterbury.
Would you care for a cigarette?
Cigarette? Thanks, Why, Miss Edna Baker.
I thought you'd never look up from behind that newspaper.
Oh, gee, it's good to see you.
Yes, it's lucky I came into the parlor car. I might never have known you were on the same train. Well, how'd New York treat you? Did you sell the song?
Mm-hmm.
You don't seem too happy about it.
Well, songwriting is okay, Edna, but there are other things in life, too. Take the girdle factory, for example.
Waterbury. Waterbury.
Well, nice meeting you again. This is where I get off.
Oh, that's too bad. It was swell talking to you.
Well, goodbye.
Goodbye. Wait a minute, Edna. What do you say we have a bite together? I can get off here, too. I can catch the next train.
Oh, do you really want to?
Sure. Say, you know any good place where we could eat?
We might go to the Little Naples.
Little Naples? Oh, my gosh.
Oh, don't worry. It's not very expensive. Hot roast beef sandwiches, pie, and coffee, and it only comes to $1.20.
Oh, that's for me. And let me make this one thing clear. I'm going to pay both checks.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Of course, you can take care of the tip.
Well, so closes the story of June Moon. Jack Carson and Frank McHugh, our thanks to you for a most entertaining half hour. And now we hope that you'll all be listening next week when the Old Gold Comedy Theater presents Pat O'Brien, June Dupree, and Tom Conway in Having a Wonderful Crime. Good night, folks. Until next Sunday. See you then.
We've promised our fighting men overwhelming superiority in weapons and equipment. We've spared nothing to give them this superiority, and we'll spare nothing to keep on giving this to them until final victory is won. We must all help pay for the tools of victory by investing every available dollar in war bonds now. And now until next Sunday evening, don't let little annoyances get you down. Why be irritated? Light an Old Gold. Its tobaccos are conditioned with apple honey to help guard against cigarette dryness and to give you more smoking pleasure. This is Bob Williams saying good night for Old Gold. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
That was the Old Gold Comedy Theater, hosted by Mr. Harold Lloyd from 1945, May the 27th. Now, our last show of the day is an episode of Lux Radio Theater, the show that really started the genre of movies on radio. And this episode is probably one of my favorite episodes of Lux, mainly because this was one of those tapes that we checked out from the library and I heard 2 million times as a kid, so it just became indelibly etched into my brain. This is 7 Keys to Baldpate. It's from September the 26th, 1938. Now, this is one of the episodes where they didn't get the stars of the movie to resume their roles. In this episode, actually, they got Jack Benny and Mary Livingstone to kind of do a sort of adaptation of the movie. It's kind of odd. They combined... It's like an episode of the Jack Benny Show combined with 7 Keys to Baldpate. It's really interesting.
Like you said, it is really interesting. It's like this weird meta, like outside. It's like a completely different version of the story.
And it also stars the host of Lux Radio Theater, Cecil B. DeMille, playing Cecil B. DeMille. So it's just very, Anyway, I love this a lot. So here it is, 7 Keys to Baldpate.
Lux presents Hollywood. Tonight, the dauntless Jack Benny and the laconic Mary Livingstone lead us into paths of peril and adventure. Laughs, chills, crooks, treasure, a damsel in distress, a mad hermit. This is only part of what Jack Benny encounters tonight in that grand comedy mystery by George M. Cohan, 7 Keys to Baldpate, adapted from the novel by Earl Durr Biggers. You'll hear also, as special guest, the world-renowned violinist Ephraim Zimbalist. Conducting our orchestra is Louis Silvers. Tonight's play is brought to you by the makers of Lux Flakes. Before I introduce our producer, let me remind you that it's thrifty to buy several big boxes of Lux Flakes at a time, so you'll always have it handy in bathroom and kitchen. Every box of Lux Flakes means longer life for your washable nice things, kind care for your hands. You're thrifty every time you use these gentler, finer flakes. And now, our producer. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille. Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Before we raise our curtain, we wish to advise our listeners that if any important news bulletins on the European situation are received at the Columbia Broadcasting System headquarters, they'll be given you at the intermission during our program. Now to our play and personalities. When George M. Cohan adapted 7 Keys to Baldpate for the stage, he had no intention of starring in it. But just before the opening, he and the leading man met with an accident. The leading man was too seriously injured to go on, so Mr. Cohan, broken collarbone and all, stepped into the breach. When I related these facts to Mary Livingstone, she threw back her head bravely and declared that if Mr. Cohan could carry on with such a handicap, she could carry on with Jack Benny. Mr. Benny is not, however, without some talent. He often entertains the guests at his home with his debonair violin playing and witty sayings. He's quite a familiar figure on the streets of Beverly Hills, whizzing past the admiring spectators in his flashy Maxwell town car. And I almost forgot. Mary always brings Jack to her radio program. And when she goes back on the air next Sunday, she'll once again try and have a place for him. For tonight, we've made a special treatment of 7 Keys to Baldpate, which finds Mr. Benny tackling one of the most difficult roles in his career, the role of Jack Benny. And Miss Livingstone comes to you in her own interpretation of Mary Livingstone. There's another character in our adaptation called Cecil B. DeMille. 1,400 actors in Hollywood have refused my generous bribes to play the part. So there's nothing left for me to do but to play myself. This being the case, my customary duties for the evening will be assumed in part by the highly capable Melville Ruick. And now we light the stage. It's curtain time and start time as the Lux Radio Theater presents Jack Benny and Mary Livingston in 7 Keys to Baldpate with Cecil B. DeMille. Mr. Ruick, will you set our scene? On the lot at Paramount Studios in Hollywood, a building stands apart from the rest. On its door, the legend, Cecil B. DeMille Productions, Incorporated. The door has just opened, and C.B. himself strides quickly across the reception room toward his private office. A small army of assistants and secretaries hinder his progress with innumerable requests.
Good morning, Mr. DeMille.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning,
Well,
Dorothy.
Mr. DeMille, I had that set
See
made
me
up
later,
now.
will you, Joe?
Hello, CB. Here's that script you asked
Thanks,
for.
I'll read it tonight.
Mr. DeMille, would you see Mr. Nelson?
I can't see anyone this morning. Ask him to come
Mr.
back.
DeMille, this
Not
man
now,
out here-
Harry. Sorry. Or Bill, come into my office, will you?
Okay, CB.
Well, Mr. DeMille, about
All
that
right,
set.
all right.
I
I'll take
want
care
you
of
to see it. It's
everything.
very
See me
important,
later.
really.
Sit down, Bill. Morning, Miss Cole.
Good morning, Mr. DeMille.
Anything happen?
Nothing much. Mr. Henry called about that script. Frank Donnelly has a new star for you, and, oh, yes, Mr. Benny called again.
Who?
Mr. Benny. Jack Benny.
What did he want?
The usual thing.
What did you tell him?
The usual thing. I said you were out to lunch.
I'm beginning to feel a little guilty about Jack.
What's it all about, CB?
Well, I was a little tired one night, and I half promised I'd make a picture with him.
No.
Yes. And he calls me up every once in a while to remind me of it.
Well, he isn't serious, is he?
And that's just the trouble. He gave me a long talk about how his soul is starved in comedy. He wants to branch out into drama, heavy acting parts.
Well, he must be crazy. What'd you tell him?
Well, I couldn't tell him the truth. It would have broken his heart, not to mention Paramount. So I just keep telling him I'm still looking for the right story, but it's becoming very embarrassing.
He seemed pretty discouraged this morning, Mr. DeMille. I really think you ought to call him. He said you could reach him at Mary Livingston's house.
Well, I'm not looking for trouble, but if he calls again, I suppose I'll have to speak to him.
Oh, Jack. 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 Hey, Yasha.
Yes, Mary.
Jack, why don't you give that cigar box a rest? You've been scratching on it for the last 2 hours.
In the first place, it's not a cigar box. In the second place, I wasn't scratching. That was music, whether you like it or not.
Thanks for the choice.
Oh, well. If that's the way you feel, I'll put it away.
Oh, Jack, I didn't mean it like that. Gee, you certainly are getting cranky lately. Come over here to say hello, and every time I open my mouth, it gets sore. What's the matter with you anyway?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I'm in one of those moods again. I'm sorry, Mary. Gosh, why doesn't DeMille call?
Oh, so that's it. I knew there was a reason for that long jaw you're wearing.
I'm not wearing a long jaw.
You are, too.
Well, I saw it in Esquire. Gee, I've called DeMille about 20 times. I'll bet that secretary never gave him the message.
Jack, I hate to be a wet rag, but did you ever think that maybe Mr. DeMille doesn't want to speak to you?
Oh, don't be silly. What makes you say that?
Well, he certainly goes out to lunch at funny hours.
Well, that doesn't prove anything. He told me himself he wanted to make a picture with me, and he wasn't lying.
Yeah, I'll bet he looked you right square in the chest when he said it.
Oh, no, he didn't. Listen, Mary, Mr. DeMille knows how I feel about comedies. We're going to make a serious picture, something that'll give me a real chance. See, the only thing that's holding it up is the story, and we'll have one if I have to sit down and write it myself. I'll write something I can sink my teeth into. With my ideas, all I need is paper and pencil.
And teeth.
See, you don't give me credit for anything, do you?
Oh, Jack, why don't you come down to earth? You're a comedian. You made your name in comedy, and you ought to stick to it. This other stuff isn't for you.
What do you mean it isn't? I'm an actor, ain't I? Aren't I? First, lost, and always, I'm an actor. And here I am laying around wasting my talents because nobody will give me a chance. DeMille makes the Plainsman, and he uses Gary Cooper. Then he turns around and makes the Buccaneer and uses Frederick March. What they want with me at Paramount, I don't know.
If I were you, I wouldn't even ask.
That's so.
And I certainly wouldn't keep pestering Mr. DeMille all the time.
I'm not pestering him. He's just as anxious to do this as I am. I'll give him a ring right now. Hello?
Give me Hollywood 06746, please. It's probably out, but I'll take a chance. Hello? Mr. DeMille's office? Well, this is Jack Benny speaking. Is Mr. DeMille back from lunch yet? Oh, he is? Well, can I speak to him? Thank you. There you are, Mary. Yeah, I told you he was just as anxious. Hello? Well, how are you, Mr. DeMille? This is Jack Benny. Oh, I'm pretty good. Say, listen, I just called... Mary? Oh, she's fine. She's fine. Say, Mr. DeMille, I've been thinking about that story. What's that? Why, no. No, I haven't got a cold. Well, maybe just a little cold. Look, Mr. DeMille, I've been thinking about that story. Huh? Oh, hot lemonade, huh? Yes, I'll do that. Say, Mr. DeMille, I've been thinking about... Quinine? Well, I don't think it's that bad. Oh, is that so? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. No sneezing. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Ask him what's good for falling hair.
Quiet. Uh-huh. Well, thanks, Mr. DeMille, but look, what I called you up about... Oh, it did, eh? Fixed you right up, huh? Well, thanks very much, Mr. DeMille. Yeah, goodbye. No, wait, what I wanted... Hello? Hello? Can you imagine that? We were cut off.
Good morning, Cecil B. DeMille Productions. I'm sorry, Mr. DeMille is in conference. Mr. DeMille is in conference. Call later, please.
I'm still not satisfied. Before I start casting a picture, I want to know that the story is right. And this story certainly isn't.
Well, it's a perfect part for Gary Cooper, Mr. DeMille.
And the character's all right, yes, but he doesn't do anything. What is it, Miss Cole?
I hate to disturb you, but Jack Benny is here.
Jack Benny? Didn't you tell him I was in a story conference?
Yes, sir, but it didn't do much good. He thinks it's about a story for him.
Oh, I was afraid of that. Well, send him in.
Yes, sir. Come in, Mr. Benny.
Oh, thanks. Well, hello, CV. How are you?
No, I'll pull through. Sit down, Jack.
Thanks. You know Mary, don't you?
Of course I do. Glad to see you, Mary.
I just want you to know, Mr. DeMille, that I'm not here of my own free will. He dragged me.
Oh, stop it, Mary. You know, CV, Mary thinks I'm making a pest out of myself. You better tell her.
I don't think that's necessary.
Oh. Well, how's it going, CV? Miss Cole told me you were having a story conference. That sounds like pretty good news.
It might be if we had a story to confer about. Nothing doing yet, Jack.
Oh, I see. Well, that's too bad.
You know, Jack, I've been thinking. Here you and I have been stalling around, wasting all your time, and we're not getting any place. Maybe you ought to try some other producer.
What? You mean walk out on you? I'm not built that way, Mr. DeMille. I'm not a quitter. I'm the kind of an actor who sticks.
What?
I said sticks. Now, look, Mr. DeMille, I don't care what happens. I'm with you right to the end.
Well, that's very kind of you, Jack.
Yeah, I'm not going to let a little thing like a story lick us. Not if I have to write one myself.
Just like that, huh?
Well, sure, I can do it all right. After all, I've had some experience, you know.
Well, it'll take you quite a while. Say, maybe it's not such a bad idea at that.
Well, of course it isn't.
No. Now you run along and write that story, Jack, and I'll give you plenty of time to do it.
Okay.
Well, I'm going out to lunch. I'll see you in a couple of months.
What are you going to eat, a whale?
Mary. Now, look, CB. Now, look at here. I don't need a couple of months to write a story. When I get started on it, I'll probably knock it out in a couple of days. One day, if I'm in the mood. Well, what's the matter? You don't believe I could do it, huh?
A complete scenario in 24 hours? I don't believe anyone could do it.
Oh, you don't? All right, Mr. DeMille, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll start a story tonight. If I finish it in 24 hours, will you produce it?
Well, it'd have to be good.
Oh, I'll take care of that. Will you produce it?
If it's a good story, why not? Now, I'll tell you something else. If you can write a complete and original story in 24 hours, I'll let you play the lead in it.
Mary, you heard that. You heard what he said.
You're letting yourself in for it, Mr. DeMille.
I don't think so. It's a mental and physical impossibility.
That's Jack, all right.
You'll find out, CB.
So will you, JB.
Well, all I need is a quiet place to work in. I may have to go out of town.
That's all right with me. Any place you want.
Okay. Now, let's see if I can...
As a matter of fact, Jack, if you really want a quiet place, you could use my place up on Baldpate.
Where?
Baldpate Mountain. It's It's an old house I picked up a couple of years ago. I've never lived there. And no one can bother you because no one else can get in.
Oh.
There's only one key in existence, and I'll give that to you.
Only one key, eh? Hey, that sounds great.
Here it is. Yeah, that's the only key to Baldpate.
Well, say, where is this place? I mean, how do I get there?
Well, it's on top of Baldpate Mountain, about 17 miles from the village of Baldpate. You'll probably have to cut your way through the snowdrifts, but once you get there, you'll love it. The only thing you'll hear is a couple of hoot owls and the moaning of the wind.
What, no radio?
No one ever goes near there. It's an ideal place to work.
All right, the bet's on. I'll go pack now, and I'll leave for Baldpate in an hour.
Good. But remember, Jack, a complete and original scenario in 24 hours.
Listen, Mr. DeMille, if I don't bring you back a complete and original story in 24 hours, my name ain't Jack Benny.
Confidentially, Mr. DeMille, it ain't.
Oh, come on.
Well, this is it, Mr. Benny. This is Baldpate. You got that key?
Right here. Say, it's kind of dark up this way, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is. Belinda and me is the caretakers of this place. But we don't get over more than 2 or 3 times a year.
If you ask me, that's 2 or 3 times too much.
Now, you hush, Belinda. Hush up. Go on in, Mr. Benny. I'll make a light for you. Ought to be an old oil lamp around here somewhere.
Well, hurry, Jed. It's black as pitch. Say, Mr. Benny, you ain't really set on staying here all night, are you?
I certainly am, Mrs. Waller.
Oh, but you don't have to stay, do you?
Well, in a way, why not?
Why not? Jed, he asked why not. I'll tell you why not, Mr. Benny.
Now, hush up, Belinda, hush up. No need to go worrying him with all those tales. Why, it's 20 years or more since old man Crummett passed away. I never did believe in ghosts anyway.
Say, who was this old Crummett?
He owned this place. May heaven help him.
But he's dead now. Dead and gone in his grave these 20 years.
In his grave when he ain't out of it.
Now, hush, Belinda, hush up.
Oh, it's all right, Mr. Waller. I'm not very much afraid of ghosts.
Oh, of course you ain't. Of course you ain't. I never would have believed a word of it myself. Except for what happened to the last feller that stayed here. Would you like to hear about it?
Well, not particularly.
Well, 'twas a night just like this. Black as a crow's feather, with the wind a-howling and a-moaning through the trees. Just like now. Yes, I guess that's why no one ever heard his screams. You see...
Here, stop it. I don't want to hear any more about it. I got a story to write here, and by heaven, I'll write it or my name ain't... Now get out of here, both of you. Go on, scat.
Then you set on staying, huh?
Yes, I'm set on staying, huh?
Come on then, Jed. We can go. Our conscience is clear.
Yep. Goodbye, mister. Goodbye.
Well, goodbye.
Let's see. The scene is in the library at night. The girl walks in, suddenly discovers her. Yeah, that's it, I think. Who's that? Who's out there? Who's outside that door?
Hiya, Morgan. Gee, it's dark in here.
Who are you?
It's okay, Morgan. I'm Cookie Bland.
That's fine, but I'm not Morgan. How'd you get in here anyway?
Why, come through the door.
Yeah, I noticed that, but I happen to have the only key to that door.
Oh, is that so? What do you think this thing is, a crochet needle?
Oh, so you've got one, too. What are you doing here?
Ah, can the chatter. You know I was supposed to meet you here. You come for the dough, didn't you?
The dough?
Well, sure. Hey, you cracked the safe yet?
Why, no. Say, what is it?
Now, listen here, Morgan.
My name isn't Morgan. I'm Jack Benny.
What?
You heard me, Jack Benny.
Oh, I'm dealing with a screwball, huh?
Oh, listen, go away, will you? I've got a story to write. I'm right in the middle of a plot.
Yeah? Well, if you ain't Morgan, you're going to be in the middle of another kind of a plot. And it don't have no happy ending.
What are you talking about?
Stick 'em up, pal.
Stick 'em up?
Stick 'em up or I'll blow you through the wall. Hey, listen. What's that?
Somebody else is trying to get in. They told me there was only one key to this place.
Shut up. Look here, screwball. I'm going to hide in the next room, see? And you get him out of here. And don't mention nothing about me being here, see? Because if you do, it's curtains. You understand? Curtains.
Curtains.
Right.
Good evening.
Well, good evening. Who are you?
Who are you?
Now, I asked first.
Oh, never mind that. How did you get in here?
Well, no trouble at all. I had a key.
You lie. There is only one key to Baldpate, and I have it.
Well, it sure gets around. Now, listen, miss, I'm a very busy man. I came here to
What
write
is your name?
My name is Jack Benny, I think.
Please, this is no time for jokes.
All right, then have it your own way. My name isn't Jack Benny. It's Morgan.
Morgan,
Yes, Morgan.
put up your hands. Put them up.
Say, this is getting a little bit monotonous.
I am going to kill you, Mr. Morgan.
Hey, wait a minute. Don't shoot. I'm not Morgan. I only said that because the other fellow told me if I wasn't Morgan...
What other fellow?
Huh?
What other fellow? Are we someone else here?
Oh, no. It's a fellow I met last week. He's in the curtain business. But I'm not Morgan. You gotta believe me.
Very well. It is good for you that you spoke in time.
Well, thank you. Wow. Well, maybe you'll tell me what this is all about. I mean, why do you want to shoot Mr. Morgan?
Why? Because he is a beast. Because he is planning to rob me of my inheritance. Listen, do you know who I am? My name is Crummett. Rita Crummett.
Not one of the grave-walking Crummets.
No. I see someone has told you about my grandfather.
Yes, casually.
20 years ago, my grandfather died very mysteriously.
Hmm?
When he died, he left O'Bara $100,000. No one ever received a penny of it. Do you know why?
He forgot to put stamps on the envelopes.
No. No one knew where it was. But recently, some new facts have come to light. Facts which prove definitely that the money is still in existence. That it is buried. Buried here in this very house.
$100,000 in this house?
Yes. And it is all mine. All mine, do you hear?
Faintly.
But a man named Morgan knows of this, too. He is planning to come here, to take the money, to rob me. Oh, you must help me.
Well, I'd like to, yes. But I have a story to write, and I've only got about 3 minutes.
Listen. Who is that?
I don't know, and don't introduce me.
Look, there is someone coming down these stairs. He is carrying a lantern.
Who's down there? Who's down there?
Shall we answer him?
Miss Crummett, did your grandfather carry a lantern?
Never.
Was he a tall, thin man, all bent over with a long gray beard?
No.
Then there's a stranger in the house.
Who's there, I say?
It's us.
What are you doing here? Who's that woman? I don't like women.
Now, just a minute, my friend. If you'll come out from behind that beard, I'd like to ask a couple of questions myself. I mean, how did you get in here?
I came through the back door.
There is no back door.
I made one.
It wasn't that funny.
I know who he is now. He is the hermit of Baldpate Mountain. He is crazy, a maniac.
Oh, so you're a hermit, eh?
Yes, I am. I live alone. But I don't like it. Get that woman out of here. I can't stand women. I hate women. I hate all women.
How about Hedy Lamarr?
I don't like her either.
Boy, you are nuts.
Mr. Benny, please, do not joke with him.
Shh. They're coming. Do you hear the drum? Rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat. They're coming. Legions upon legions. Marching. Closer and closer. Legions upon legions. And they're all dead.
That man, I have heard of him. He is very dangerous. There's no telling what he will do. If he comes back, we must humor him.
Yeah, if I come back, humor me.
Oh, no, do not go, please. You must not leave me alone now.
Look, I came here to write a story.
Listen. There is someone at the door again. Someone is trying to get in.
It's about time somebody tried to get out.
I must not be seen here. I will be up in the attic. Do not breathe a word.
Hello, Jack.
Mary, you?
Who'd you expect, Corrigan?
Why not? How'd you open that door?
With a key, why?
That's ridiculous. Don't you know there's only 4 keys in existence?
Well, mine makes 5. I didn't want to disturb you, so when I came through the village, I borrowed it from the grocer.
A fine place that DeMille sent me to. Wait till I see him again. What'd you come up here for, anyway?
Well, don't look so annoyed. I got worried about you. I thought of you up here all alone, and, well, I thought you might like some company.
Company? Got more company now than a sweepstake winner. Mary, this is no place for you. You gotta leave right now.
What do you mean, leave? I just got here.
I know, but you gotta go. Now, don't ask questions, please.
Are you trying to get rid of me?
Oh, yes, I'm trying to get rid of you.
Why?
Mary, will you please do what I say?
Not until I know what's behind all this. What's going on here anyway?
There's nothing going on here. Nothing.
Well, boy meets girl.
Where are you?
Here, what's the matter now?
That man is trying to kill me. He's mad. Oh, you've got to help me. Stay near me. I can't stand it.
Here, now, stop. It's all right. I'll take care of you. Just calm yourself. Now, everything's going to be all right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Jack.
What?
Who's the foreigner?
Her name is Rita Crummett, and she's in a lot of trouble. I'm trying to help her out. Miss Crummett, this is Mary Livingston.
Oh, how do you do? I am very pleased to meet you.
I'll bet you are. So this is the story you were going to write, eh?
Well, I started to tell you.
I thought there was some reason why you wanted to get rid of me.
Now, listen, Mary.
Oh, don't try to make excuses.
Oh.
It's too bad I happened to come up here, isn't it? But I'm glad I did. Glad I found out about you before it's too late.
Mary, are you crazy? I never saw this woman before in my life.
Then what is she doing here?
I'll tell you what she's doing. She came here after $100,000.
Oh, bank night.
Now, look, Mary, this money
Oh,
was...
you can't pull the wool over my eyes. It's all off between us, Jack. This is the end. Take Miss Crumpet and go.
It's not Crumpet, it's Crummett.
Well, she certainly looks it.
Mary, look, this is silly. It's her money, and she came here to get it. Now, there's a man named Morgan who's trying to take it away from her, and there's a fellow named Cokie Bland who's hiding in the other room, and he's trying to get it.
All right, wise guy, stick him up.
Hey, now, wait a minute, Bland. Wait a second. I didn't mean to tell her, really. I didn't. It just slipped out.
Stick him up. Come on, all of you.
Now, look what you done, Mary. I hope you're satisfied.
I warned you not to squeal, didn't I?
Oh.
I warned you, pal. But you double-crossed me, see? And now I'm gonna lump your dumplings.
You're gonna what?
Lump your dumplings!
You're gonna lump my dumplings?
Jack, what does he mean?
I'm not sure, but if it's what I think it is, you better shake the mothballs out of your old black dress.
We return in just a moment to the second act of Seven Keys to Baldpate, starring Jack Benny, Mary Livingston, and Cecil B. DeMille. Now for a brief intermission, during which we overhear your friends, the Browning family. In their living room, Mr. Browning is discovered checking over the month's bills. Dot sits by the window sewing. Betty has the radio tuned in to Flatfoot Flugie, while Dad is vainly trying to add a column of figures.
26 and 43 is... Quiet! Isn't it enough that I have to pay the bills? Or do I have to add them up in a madhouse, too?
What bills, Dad?
What bills? These bills. What on earth does this family do with stockings?
We hang them up at Christmas and wait for Santa Claus.
Well, you're looking at Santa Claus right now. But I can't be Santa Claus on stockings much longer. In fact, I don't think I'll buy another pair until you tell me why you can't make them last.
Why, Dad, stockings just wear out. They pop runs and... Oh, Betty, if you'd only wash your stockings the way I told you. Yeah, Dot, I know. Every night in Lux. Don't forget the Lux. It does make a difference, Bet. My stockings last lots longer than yours. On account of this elasticity you're always talking about, I suppose. Stockings should stretch and then spring back.
Oh, I wish this budget would.
Honestly, Betty, it's dopey to wash stockings the way you do. Come on, be a good egg. Use Lux and help Dad out with the bill.
Is somebody in this family actually going to do something to help me? Mother, come quick. It's a miracle. That's what it is, a miracle.
Yes, the girl who wears the stockings and the man who pays the bills are both thankful for Lux Flakes. They cut down on costly runs and protect the beauty and fit of your stockings, too. Wash your stockings after every wearing in gentle Lux Flakes. To save money, buy the big box. We continue with Seven Keys to Baldpate, starring Jack Benny, Mary Livingston, and Cecil B. DeMille. A few minutes have passed. In the old house on Baldpate Mountain, the situation remains unchanged, and Jack is still unshot. Rita Crummett, Mary, and Jack are seated in a row against the wall. Bland covers them with an automatic.
And I don't want nobody to make any false moves, see? If anybody bats an eyelash, you know what.
You'll lump his dumplings.
Right.
Keep quiet, Mary.
Well, that's what he said he'd do, didn't he? He was going to lump your dumplings.
Well, you don't have to remind him of it.
Don't worry, Screwball. I changed my mind about that. I'm going to wait here for Morgan.
Well, I can wait if you can.
Morgan is a beast.
Nobody asked you, sister.
He's trying to steal my money, but he won't. He won't, I tell you. I'll get that money tonight if it's the last thing I do.
You lay one finger on it, and I will be.
Hey, what is all this about money? What's everyone doing up here anyway?
Oh, she came up here for some money, and this guy came up ahead of her. I came up to write a story. You came to keep me company. Not one of us had sense enough to bring sandwiches.
Shut up.
Well, why don't you all go home and leave me alone?
Shut up, I tell you.
I won't shut up. You can't intimidate me. Anyway, not until Morgan gets here.
Well, maybe I won't wait for Morgan, see? Maybe I'll break the rules for once and let you have it right now.
Here, stop! Put that gun down. Put it down.
Everybody stand where you are. I've got you covered.
Look, it's the hermit.
Drop that gun. Drop it, I say!
Oh, nuts.
There, smarty pants.
Hey, Jack, who's the guy with the long beard?
That's the hermit, Mary. Hiya, Hermie.
Wonder what he looks like.
I'm not going to get a lawnmower just for that.
Who's this woman? Why is she here?
Now, Hermie, control yourself. You certainly showed up at the right time. Where'd you get that gun?
That's none of your business. I heard what you said. Up here after old Crummets' money, huh? Well, you won't get it. None of you will get it.
Listen, look, I don't even want the money. All I want is to be left alone, that's all. And this guy here was going to shoot me.
Oh, he was, eh? Well, he won't.
There. You see, Mr. Bland?
But I'm going to shoot you myself.
What?
There, you see, Mr. Bland?
Quiet. Listen, Hermie, look, be reasonable. What did I ever do to you?
You brought these women here.
Oh, he did, eh?
I did not.
He did, too. Listen here, Hermie. I heard the whole thing. This dame came here for the dough, and this here guy promised he'd get it. There were a couple of crooks, and if I was you, I'd give it to him right now.
Hermie, don't listen to him. He's crazy.
He is, eh?
Sure he is. He's stark raving mad.
So am I. Shake, brother.
Shake.
Gosh.
Stop shaking, Jack. You're not in it.
Go on, Hermie. Let the rat have it.
Right now?
Sure, right now. Why not?
Hey, you keep out of this. If he wants to wait a little, that's his business.
Go on, Hermie. Give it to him.
No. We must wait.
That's right. We got to wait for Morgan.
No, not for Morgan. We wait until midnight. I'll sit here and watch you squirm. Then when we hear the old village clock striking the hour, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11...
Stop! Hermie, you can't do that. You can't shoot a man down in cold blood. Why, you don't know me. You don't even know who I am. You can't do it, Hermie. I tell you can't do it.
Take up your hand. Come on. Up with him.
Now I know somebody's selling keys outside.
Put that gun down, Santa Claus. I'm taking charge here. Now, don't move. Anybody.
Brother, I don't know who you are, but you certainly are a lifesaver.
Yeah? Hello, Bland.
Hi, Morgan.
Morgan?
What are you laughing at?
Hello, Morgan.
Mary.
What's going on here, Bland?
Well, I don't know, boss. I come up here like you told me to, and I find this guy punning a typewriter, and this here dame walks in and she...
Rita. So you're here, eh?
Well, what of it?
You double-crossing little snake.
Say, you can't talk to Miss Crummett like that.
Crummett? That's a laugh. Do you know who this dame is?
If she's Miss America, I'll scream.
Quiet.
Her name is Nolan. Rita Nolan. She's the slickest little crook in the business.
What do you mean, crook? That money belongs to anyone who finds it.
Nobody will find it, because it's mine. Every penny of it mine.
Keep your mouth shut. Put up your hands, everybody.
Me too?
Yeah, you too. Keep them there, you hear?
Yes, sir.
Come here, Bland. I want to speak to you.
Okay, boss.
Rest of you sit tight. I got my eyes on all of you.
Phew. Gee, Mary, I guess we're in a tough spot. I wished I had a gun.
What for? You wouldn't shoot anybody.
No, but I could commit suicide. Mary. Hey, Mary. Don't make a move, but listen to me. We got to get that gun away from Morgan. I got a plan.
What is it?
When Morgan comes over here and starts to talk, you look behind him, see? And then you yell, "Look out behind you." Then when he turns around, I'll grab his gun. How do you like that for an idea?
I think it's corny.
What do you mean, corny? Shh. Here he comes.
All right, Bland. Let's get after that dough. It's in the house somewhere. We've got to find it tonight. Here, you take the upstairs, and I'll search down here.
All right, Mary. Remember the plan?
Oh, yes. Say, Mr. Morgan, will you come here a minute?
Huh? What do you want?
Personally, I don't think this is going to work, but look out behind you.
What?
Hey, give me that gun.
Hey, you stand
Stand right where you are, Mr. Morgan. Now put up your hands, everybody. You didn't think it would work, eh, Mary? Say, I guess I'm not a scenario writer for nothing. Everybody line up against that wall, see? I mastered this situation, see? I got you all in the palm of me hand. If anybody moves, I'll dump his lumplings.
The telephone.
Who had that phone connected?
I'll answer it.
Oh, no, you don't. Get away from that phone.
Then call for me.
No, it isn't.
Stand back, all of you. I'll take care of this, see?
Be careful what you say, Jack. You can't tell who it might be.
Don't worry. I guess I can handle it. I guess.
Go ahead, Jack.
All right. Don't push me. Hello? Hello? What? No, madam, this is not Sam's Delicatessen. Can you imagine that?
Whew.
Now what are we going to do? Anyway, I've still got the gun. We're going to stay here until I can reach the police.
Police?
Yes, if we have to wait here all night.
Jack, why do we have to sit around waiting for the police?
Why? Because nobody knows we're here, because I'm not a mental telepathist, because we haven't got a shortwave radio.
Well, we have a telephone. Why don't we call them?
Well, I'd have thought of that, too. I'll call him right now. Now, don't move, anybody. Hello? Hello, operator. Give me the police department and hurry.
You're making a mistake there, buddy.
You don't say, huh? Well, you made a mistake when you walked in here and tried to push me around. Hello? Is this the Baldpate Village Police Station? Well, this is Jack Benny, and I'm up on Baldpate Mountain. Yes, Jack Benny. What do you mean, a gag? I tell you... What? All right, then you can be the king of Bulgaria. I'm still Jack Benny. The king of Bulgaria.
Let me talk to him, Jack.
Okay.
Now listen, Your Majesty.
Give me that phone. Now get this. I'm up here on Baldpate Mountain. I've got a... Yes. Yeah, I know that. Look, I know no one lives on Baldpate. That's why I'm here. No, I'm not crazy. Hello? Hello? Hello, listen. Hello? You beat that. He hung up. I'd like to go down there and stuff that phone down his throat.
Why don't you?
And let all these crooks walk out on me? Oh, no.
Don't worry about them. You leave the gun with me, and I'll keep school till you get back with the cops.
Now, don't be ridiculous. You couldn't handle this mob. All alone and everything.
Sure I could. If anybody tried to get out, I'd do that stuff with the dumplings. Give me the gun.
Oh, I don't like this. Suppose something happened.
Nothing's going to happen. Go ahead, Jack, and get back here as soon as you can.
Well, all right, but keep your eye on him. I'll be back in an hour, and I'll have the whole police force with me. Hey, open this door. Hey, what kind of a police station is this? Open up, will you?
Hey, what goes on here?
Hey, let me in. Is this the Baldpate Village Police Station?
It ain't the morgue.
Well, you can't prove it by you. Where is everybody?
Well, we close early on Mondays.
Oh, you do, eh? Well, I want to see the chief constable. Where is he?
Chief Constable? You'll find him in cell number 6. He's playing draw poker with the 3 prisoners.
Playing with the prisoners? Isn't he taking a chance?
No, they're his cards.
Oh.
Just go right through that door. The chief is the guy without the stripes.
Thank you.
Okay, Chief, I'll raise that bid.
It'll cost you a dime to see him, Chief.
And it'll cost him another dime to see me.
Hey, say, Chief, can I interrupt you for a minute? I'm the guy that called you up about an hour ago from Baldpate Mountain.
Oh, yeah?
I came down here to tell you there's a gang of desperate crooks up there, and you got to do something about it.
Crooks, eh?
Yeah.
What do you got, Joe?
3 kings.
Hey, will you wait a minute? I just left them.
I got 3 aces.
Your pot, Chief.
Look, I just left them up there. They're being held by Mary Livingston. They're dangerous, Chief. You got to come right away.
Whose deal is it?
My deal, Chief.
Look, will you listen? One of them's going to kill me at 12 o'clock on the dot. He's a maniac. And if he misses me, there's 3 others who won't.
Well, I can't quit winners, can I?
Oh.
I'll open a new deck.
Take out the 2s and 3s.
Look, Chief, I hate to be a kibitzer, but this is a matter of life and death.
Who opened?
You did.
I did not.
You did, too. Now, look, Chief, all I want is...
10 cents blind, Joe.
I'll see that and raise it a dime.
Look, all I want is
Up a nickel.
All I want is...
A nickel and 1 better.
Chief, it's a matter of life and death.
And a nickel again.
It's $100,000.
What? Well, that's too high for me. I pass. Wait a minute. What did you say?
$100,000 on Baldpate Mountain.
Well, what are we sitting around here for?
That's what I've been trying to tell you. There's a whole gang of crooks. They're after the money.
Not while Kennedy is chief constable. Can you show me the way?
Follow me.
Then let's go. I've kept this county clean of crooks for 10 years. And by heaven, it'll stay clean.
Now, come on.
Wait. Where's my holster?
Here it is, Chief, hanging on your chair. Hurry up.
Is my gun in it?
Yes, and 2 aces. Let's go.
We pause for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. This is the Lux Radio Theater, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you with the good wishes of the makers of Lux Flakes. And now, before bringing you the third act of our play, starring Jack Benny, Mary Livingston, and Cecil B. DeMille, we have a little intermission. During the week, one of the most distinguished violinists in the world, Mr. Ephraim Zimbalist, boarded a plane and headed west just to be with us tonight, a tribute for which we're most grateful. Due to the insidious machinations of Jack Benny, all violinists have fallen into a mild sort of disrepute, and especially a certain composition for the violin, written by Schubert, a composition spelt B, as in Benny, E, E. Like a knight of old, aglow with the fierce flame of vengeance, Mr. Zimbalist is here to right ancient wrongs, and to play the B with some regard for Mr. Schubert and the sensibilities of listening America. At last, Mr. Benny is cornered. Mr. Zimbalist, are you ready?
Thank you, Mr. Wick, but there's no hurry. Let him suffer for a while longer.
Well, why not? Oh, by the way, Mr. Zimbalist, what do you think of Jack as an actor?
I find a remarkable similarity, Mr. Wick, between Mr. Benny the actor and Mr. Benny the violinist. Even as an actor, he insists on playing in 7 keys.
Mr. Zimbalist, well, shucks, I play the violin, too. Maybe you heard me in The Buccaneer. I was the pirate who played the violin for Frederick March to soothe his nerves.
Oh, is that so? May I suggest, Mr. Wick, that next time you give him a nice cup of hot milk?
Oh. Don't you like anything around here, Mr. Zimbalist?
Oh, of course. I'm just trying to be funny, Mr. Wick. When a violinist tries to be a comedian, or when a comedian tries to be a violinist, heaven help the audience. I think I better play the B.
Fine. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ephraim Zimbalist, accompanied at the piano by Theodore Seidenberg. America thanks you, Mr. Zimbalist, and we all trust Mr. Benny's musical dumplings are at long last properly lumped. We hear him now with Mary Livingston and Cecil B. DeMille in Act 3 of 7 Keys to Baldpate. An hour later, Jack Benny has enlisted the aid of the Baldpate Village Police. A car containing our hero and the chief constable pulls up the rugged mountain road, comes to a stop just outside of the old house.
There's the house, Chief Kennedy.
All right. Now, don't get excited. We're around a whole bunch of them up. Come on.
Wait. Gosh, I forgot. We can't get in. I came out without the key.
Oh, don't worry about that. I got one.
Oh, you have? Well, don't lose it. They're awfully scarce. Hey, look.
Huh? What's the matter now?
Gee, I left the light burning in that room. Now it's dark.
All right. Take it easy. I've got a flashlight. We'll break in on them and take them by surprise. Ready?
Right.
Now. Put them up! Everybody!
Wait a minute. There's nobody here. Hey, Mary! Mary! Why, they've all gone.
They can't be gone. We'd have seen them coming down the mountain. Say, I thought there was something screwy about you.
But I'm not screwy. They must be somewhere in the house. You look upstairs and I'll take the cellar.
Okay. Here, take this other gun out of my hip pocket. And if you see anybody, shoot first.
Gee, I hope nothing happened to Mary. Mary! Mary, are you in the cellar? Mary, if you're down here, turn on a light. I can't see a thing. Mary! Mary!
Hello, Jack.
Oh, Mary, you're safe. Where are you? I can't see.
I'm over here, Jack, sitting in a rocking chair.
Oh, I thought something happened to you. Well, get out of that chair and come over here.
Okay, but you'll have to untie these ropes first.
What ropes? You mean you're tied to that chair?
I couldn't help it, Jack. Really, I couldn't.
I might have known this would happen. Let me at those ropes. Who did this?
Mr. Morgan.
Oh, Morgan, eh?
Yeah, right after I dropped the gun.
Oh, you dropped the gun.
Well, I couldn't help it. I was standing there covering him just like you told me. And all of a sudden, Morgan yelled, "Look out behind you." And when I turned around, there was nobody there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that trick is better than I thought it was.
Oh, shut up. Hey, listen, they're all upstairs again. Come on, slip out of those robes.
I'm ready.
Up the stairs, quick.
Jack, maybe we better not go up there.
Well, what are you talking about? I brought the law back with me. Kennedy's taking charge. He'll have those crooks in jail in an hour. But don't end up in a card game. Come on.
Shut up, everybody. Shut up or I'll plug somebody.
Now, what goes on, Chief? You got the whole crowd, huh?
And I got the money, too. It's in that big bag on the floor.
That's my money. It's mine.
Quiet, Hermie.
You. I'll get you at 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock, eh? You got to get free first. Where'd you find the money, Chief?
That hermit dug it up. This woman took it from him, Bland took it from her, Morgan took it from him.
And I'm taking it from all of you.
Put that bag down.
Give me that bag. It's mine.
Don't let her take that.
Keep your hands off.
Put down that bag,
Drop
Morgan.
that bag, all of you. Drop that bag. The law's here now. The law will take care of that dough in its own way.
That's telling them, Chief.
Where's the phone?
Right over there on the desk.
Put that money up here next to me.
There you are, Chief.
Now, everybody stay nice and quiet. Hello, operator. I want Village 826. Yeah.
Who you calling, Chief? The riot squad? I guess all you crooks will have a lot of time to think this over.
Hello, Village 826. Is this Joe's pool room?
Pool room?
This is Chief Constable Kennedy. Let me speak to my wife, will you? What? You don't see her around?
Maybe she's behind the 8-ball.
Mary.
Oh, you did, eh? Well, put her on the phone.
Look, Chief, I don't want to interfere with your business, but why don't you call up the station?
Hello. Is that you, Agnes? How's the game tonight, honey? That's good. Listen, honey, get this clear. I want you to get some clothes together in a hurry and catch the next train for Canada. Now, don't ask questions. I'll meet you there Wednesday morning. Yeah, with $100,000.
Say, what are you trying
Shut
to...
up! You got that straight, honey? Okay. Goodbye, sweetheart. What? Oh, all right. Goodbye, dear. Now, everybody stay where you are.
Say, what do you think you're going to do?
You heard me, buddy. I'm going to Canada.
It's a fine time to visit the quintuplets.
Shut up.
Why can't you can't get away with this? I'll have the law on your trail in 3 minutes.
No, you won't. I took care of that. There's 4 of my boys guarding the mountain road right now, with orders to shoot anybody trying to leave. You're all going to stay right here until I get a head start. Then you can do what you want.
You certainly are a fine cop stealing that money.
Yeah.
Why don't we divvy up, even Stephen?
You keep out of this. Why shouldn't I steal it from a gang of crooks like you? It's one chance in a lifetime to get this much dough, and I'm going to grab it. Yeah. I'm going to live in a marble hall and eat off gold plates and send my 2 boys to college. What do you think of that?
You won't get away with it. I'll shoot you dead. You're second on my list right now.
Come back here, you.
Shoot. Go on. Shoot. Missed me.
He's gone. He's loose again. A fine mess you made out of this, Mr.
You
Kennedy.
keep quiet.
Why, that man's a maniac. He's crazy. He's going to kill me at 12 o'clock on the dot.
If he bumps you off, he's not as crazy as I thought.
Listen, Kennedy, you never get away with this. Hand over that dough.
Stand back, you.
want that money.
No, you don't. Get away from me. Get away or I'll plug the whole bunch. Get away.
Come on, everybody, grab him.
Everybody, stand right where you are. Put up your hands. Go on, put them up, everybody.
Mary. Mary, look who it is. Look.
Who are you?
I'm Cecil B. DeMille, the owner of Baldpate. 2 policemen refused to let me pass, and I shot them dead.
Oh, this isn't true. Why, it can't be true.
What's the matter here, Jack? Who are these people? How'd they get in here?
Gee, I don't know.
Have they disturbed you in your work? How are you getting on with your story?
How am I getting on? It's a nice question. Fine place you sent me to. Nothing but ghosts, crooks, murderers, maniacs, and now a director. You told me there was only one key. This place has more keys than a grand piano.
But, Jack...
You win, I lose. 24 hours. I couldn't write a story in this joint in 24 years. Well, what's the matter with you? What are you all laughing at? Hey, what goes on here, anyway?
I just want to tell you, Jack, I hope you're not going to be mad, but the whole thing was a joke.
What was a joke?
I sent all these people up here just for a gag.
A gag?
That's right. This girl you thought was Rita Crummett. Her real name is Eve Forsythe. I used her in my last picture.
How do you do, Mr. Benny?
Well, Al, this is the darndest thing.
Cokie Bland isn't a crook. He isn't even Cokie. He's my old prop man.
How are you, Mr. Benny?
Well, this is very funny.
Morgan here is an actor I've been using for years. His name is Jones.
Jones? Well, what an odd name.
Yeah, Kennedy isn't a real chief constable, but he's a real actor.
Well, thanks, Mr. DeMille.
I'd say he's a real actor. He certainly had me going. Well, this is quite a surprise.
And, of course, Mary was in on the whole thing from the start.
Oh, she was?
Hello, Jack.
Mary. Oh, gosh darn you. Oh, this is very funny. Say, Mr. DeMille, who was the hermit?
Huh?
You know, the hermit. The guy you sent up here to act like a crazy man. Boy, he had me scared for a while. Who was he?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, the crazy guy. The guy who said he was going to shoot me at 12 o'clock, sharp.
You know anything about this, Kennedy?
Well, not me. I figured he was one of the actors.
Well, I didn't send him.
What? You mean you...
There must be some mistake. I don't know anything about a hermit.
Well, neither do I. I thought that...
Wait a minute. Do you mean this hermit is on the level?
Well, he must be.
But he's going to shoot me. He's going to kill me at 12 o'clock.
Now, keep calm, Jack. There must be something we can do.
But he's a maniac. He's crazy. He's roaming around loose. Listen, what time is it? What time is it now?
It's exactly 2 minutes of 12.
2 minutes of... Oh.
Jack! Jack, look at me. Are you all right?
He got me, Mary. He got me. Mary,
Yes, Jack?
tell DeMille.
Yes, yes?
Tell DeMille.
What, Jack? Tell DeMille what?
Tell DeMille his watch is 2 minutes slow.
Mr. DeMille's office. I'm sorry, Mr. DeMille is in conference. I'm sorry, Mr. DeMille is in a story conference with Mr. Benny. Mr. DeMille is in a story conference.
And there's your story, Mr. DeMille. At the finish, the hermit shoots me and I fall to the floor. Mary leans over to me and says, Jack, look at me. Are you all right? Then I look up at her and say, tell DeMille his watch is 2 minutes slow. Finish. There's your story, Mr. DeMille, and I finished it in 24 hours.
Gee, Jack, that's swell.
What do you think of it, C.V.?
Did you write all this since you were in this office yesterday?
I certainly did.
Did you work at my place on Baldpate?
Yes, and you were right. I never heard a sound. But I used it for the locale of my story and brought in a lot of crooks and things. Well, I even put you in it. I had you come in at the finish to tell me it was all a gag.
Yeah, I know.
And I wrote a part for Mary, too. Well, how do you like it?
It's very good, Jack.
Thanks. Now, you remember your promise, C.V. You said you'd produce it.
I certainly will.
There you are, Mary, you see?
Gee.
And Gary Cooper is just the man for it.
Gary Cooper? Now, wait a minute, Mr. DeMille. You said I could play the lead in it.
I said you could play the lead if it was an original story.
Well, it is original. And it's good, too.
Yes, but it was also good in 1910 when Earl Durr Biggers wrote the novel.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, and in 1913 when George M. Cohan produced the play.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Yeah, and in 1925 when Paramount produced the silent picture.
Oh, they got in it, too.
Yeah, and in 1929 when RKO made it as a talkie.
Well,
Yeah,
well.
and I believe they all called it 7 Keys to Baldpate.
They did?
Ah.
Gee, and I was so proud of it. God, I thought it was my own brainchild, didn't you?
And it turned out to be an orphan.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm licked. So the picture's off, ACB?
I'm sorry, Jack.
Gee, and I wanted to play the lead in it. Well, that's the way it goes. Yeah. Come on, Mary, let's go home.
Wait a minute, Jack. You've still got a chance. Grab that script.
What for?
We'll take it over to Walt Disney. He'll produce it.
Gee, Walt Disney. Say, there's an idea. Come on, let's go. Walt Disney.
So long, Jack.
Quack, 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 quack. Quack, quack, quack.
And that's the end of our Lux Radio Theater version of 7 Keys to Baldpate. But not the end of Jack Benny. He'll be back in a moment with Mary Livingston, to be put on the spot again, I'm sure, by Mr. DeMille. Meantime, may I ask you, our listeners, a question. Have you ever been put on the spot by embarrassingly red, rough hands? If you have, if you want the smooth, white hands everyone admires, try changing to Lux Flakes for washing your dishes. Your hands may spend as much as 500 hours in the dishpan every year. Think of the damage a harsh soap may do. Such soaps are drying. They rob your skin of its natural oils. But Lux Flakes have none of the harmful alkali so drying to the skin. They leave your hands lovely. Do as so many clever women do nowadays. Use Lux for dishes. Buy the thrifty big box tomorrow. And now, Mr. DeMille, the actor, surrenders to Mr. DeMille, your host and producer, as he brings Jack Benny and Mary Livingston back to our microphone.
Thank you for that word, actor, Mr. Rourke. And now a brief exchange of opinions with the man of the hour. Oh, Jack, Mr. Benny. Mary, where's Jack?
He's in the next room taking off his makeup.
Makeup? Well, Mary, does he use makeup on radio?
Well, Jack has to on account of mic fright.
Mic fright? What's that got to do with it?
When he doesn't put on makeup, he frightens the mic.
I see.
Here he comes now. Hey, Jack, Mr. DeMille wants you.
Oh, yes, Mr. DeMille.
Well, Jack, now that it's all over, I've got to admit that tonight's acting was superb. Really great.
Gee, Mr. DeMille, you mean that?
I certainly do. It was brilliant.
Well, then there's no room for an argument there.
Thanks. I thought I was pretty good.
You?
Of course. Who did you mean?
Oh, well, yes, Mr. DeMille. I thought your acting was all right. Yes, sir, all right.
You mean you didn't think it was good?
Well, I didn't think it was bad.
But you didn't say it was good.
No, I said it was all right, all right.
Yeah, but you said it like Major Bowes.
No, I really thought you were swell. And speaking of histrionic ability, I wasn't exactly a sound effect on this program myself, you know.
I agree with you, Jack. I thought you did a great job.
Thank you.
Hey, Gable.
What? What is it, Mary?
As long as it's a matter of personal opinion, I thought I was pretty good, too.
Mary, you were excellent. I don't know what we'd have done without you.
It's got me stumped, too.
By the way, Jack, what did you think of the way Mr. Zimbalist played the bee?
Oh, I thought it was quite good, Mr. DeMille. Of course, his pizzicato was a bit strong. And when it came to the andante, I thought he was slightly razzmatazz in there.
Oh, he was?
Oh, yeah. But when it came to the allegro, why, nobody can question that.
They better not question you either.
Yeah, tough. They're not question you either. Now, look. Always comes in with their little 2 cents. Now, look, Mr. DeMille. Now that it's all over, let's be serious. How about my playing the leading role in your next picture? I've been looking forward to it, and I know I can do it. Why, I've been riding a horse 8 hours a day just to get in shape for the part.
Well, you've been practicing on the wrong kind of a horse, Jack. Union Pacific is the story of an iron horse.
The thing I rode wasn't made of feathers, Mr. DeMille.
But, Jack, you've got it all wrong. An iron horse is a locomotive. Union Pacific is a railroad story.
Oh, a railroad story, Mr. DeMille. Railroads are right down my alley.
That was before you moved to the new house.
Well, that means apart from the picture, I'll move right back. How about it, Mr. DeMille?
He'll think it over.
You stay out of this. What do you say?
Mary's right. I'll think it over.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
By the way, I want to wish you good luck on the opening of your new Jell-O series next Sunday night. You too, Mary.
Thank you, Mr. DeMille.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. DeMille, I still think you're right about my trying to be a dramatic actor. I'll wash my hands of the whole thing. And to show you there's no hard feelings, I'll do it with Lux. Well, I guess we'll be running along. Come on, Mary.
Okay. Say, Jack, didn't it seem strange working tonight after our long vacation?
It sure did. But I got a lot of laughs tonight, didn't I, Mary?
Yeah, tuck in your shirt tail and let's go home.
Oh, good night. See you Sunday.
Good night, Hamlet. Good night, Mary.
Our stars in play for next Monday night are announced very shortly by Mr. DeMille. Heard in tonight's cast were Margaret Brayton as Rita, Ted Osborne as Hermie, Ross Forrester as Bland, Gail Gordon as Morgan, Lou Merrill as Kennedy, John Fee as Sergeant, Eddie Waller as Jed, Martha Wentworth as Belinda, Joe Kearns as a prisoner, Victor Rodman as Bollister, Mary Lansing as telephone operator, Frank Nelson as Oakley, Dorothy Grewatts as Miss Cole, and Catherine Carlton as a girl. Jack Benny and Mary Livingston return to the air on the Jell-O program next Sunday night. Mr. Benny's new Paramount film is Artists and Models Abroad. Louis Silvers, our musical director, appeared through courtesy of 20th Century Fox Studio, where he directed music for the new picture, Straight, Place, and Show. Here's Mr. DeMille.
Believing with Disraeli that variety is the mother of enjoyment, we turn from the comedy of tonight's play and bring you next Monday night to more dramatic and romantic feels in presenting our adaptation of the recent hit picture, Another Dawn. This tense play carries us to Arabia, where in the heat and mystery of the desert, a handful of soldiers hold aloft their country's flag, and a beautiful girl picks up the fragments of her lost happiness. Our stars, a trio of Hollywood's most popular celebrities, Madeline Carroll, Francho Tone, and George Brent. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Flakes, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents Madeline Carroll, Francho Tone, and George Brent in Another Dawn. This is Cecil B. DeMille, the former actor, saying good night to you from Hollywood.
All right, that was Lux Radio Theater, and that's going to wrap us up for today's edition of Yesterday Today, Movies on Radio version.
Just back to that episode of Lux Radio Theater, like you mentioned with the Bickersons a couple weeks ago, you had this vivid memory of a road trip listening to the Bickersons. I have a similar memory of Seven Keys to Baldpate. I don't even remember the road trip itself. I just remember listening to this in the back of the car.
Now, I think I know what you're talking about, because the last time I listened to this show was on probably that trip with you. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been in high school, you would have been in elementary, maybe?
Yeah, and, I mean, it might have been like a drizzly, rainy day, but not the same as the road trip. I think this is a really atmospheric program you could listen to on you could listen to this by the fire, sit in your chair on a stormy night.
Yeah, I have two specific memories about this episode. The one, my most recent time listening to it back in high school with you on that rainy car ride, and before that in Montana, when we lived in Montana, and just howling blizzard outside and listening to this off the old cassette player. So this is something I've noticed about old time radio, is that when you listen to it, you kind of keep the memory of what you were doing while you were listening to it.
Yeah, I've had that happen with, like, music and stuff, too.
Yeah, every show just has this, like, memory attachment of what you were doing at the time. There's specific episodes of the Jack Benny program where it just takes me back instantly to riding the bus to school at, like, 6 in the morning in Montana. So it's kind of funny how audio does that with you. Anyway, it's been a great time on Yesterday Today, folks. Come back next week, we'll have more good stuff for you.
And hopefully we'll have more of this studio fixed up, Jake.
Hey, I did a pretty good job with the wallpaper, you gotta admit.
You made a valiant effort, I'll admit, but there's still quite a bit of work that needs to be done.
Now you're gonna get mad about the termites. Fine, whatever.
I'm just a little concerned that the exposed wiring is now dangerously close to that giant puddle over there.
Next thing you know, you're gonna be telling me that seatbelts save lives or some silly nonsense like that. See you next time, folks. Hopefully.